What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It's another installation of the Siege Double Shot, and this time we're coming at you baller style. We watched them rise, we've watched them fall, and now it's time to watch them fight. One grand finals to claim the crown. Whiskey, this is going to be an absolute banger.
That's right, my friend. Here we go. Five Fears taking on Tempr for the grand final. We got to watch Five Fears beat F5, which was a fantastic match, but difficult to say the entire night. Watching Five Fears win that one in an epic 3-map battle. And then Tempr, on the other hand, they've had a slightly easier path to the final. We're going to go ahead and show you that bracket real quick, but it's coming down to one of these two teams.
And, this is going to be a good one. You hear a lot of talk in the Siege community, and they've made their way through the bracket, some a little bit better, a little bit easier than others, and it all comes down to this one, Run. I can't wait for it. A best of 5? I'm in.
Yeah, could potentially be a long night, but between these two teams, you saw Five Fears take down Unreal Nightmare, Rad, and then F5 in that final battle. And then on the Tempr side, they had a forfeit win versus Invictus, so like I said, a little bit easier of a path through. They had a tough fight, though, versus Turtle Tactics to earn their spot in the grand finals. But Five Fears, they have dropped to just a single map throughout the entire tournament, and that was on Kafe, to that F5 team in the semifinal.
Okay, so let's take a look at them, Run. Let's see the teams. Five Fears coming up. Ark, Zers, BJL, Gasher, and Kool-Aid. If you watched last week or last cast, you know they were absolutely cooking. Straight gunners. Strats didn't matter. Push in, claim space, click heads, easy call.
Yeah, this is a great team. Ark has already earned an MVP for one stage in the map, but I mean, when you take a look at the talent that is on this team, we talked about it during the F5 match, the better team on paper, and that continues through here into the final, but they have got a serious contender to take on, Tempr, my friend.
Right, and if you've been paying attention to the Siege community, this is a team that's taken a ton of victories across the leagues, and here's why, right? Geek, Valen, Nesta, Tweety, Roxo. This team has put together really just a really well-balanced attack and defense, looking for potentially highlighting Geek to maybe potentially pop off or fall off, and could be writing the history for the Ballers Invitational.
Geek and Valen also pulled off 2 MVPs as well, so they had tremendous games earlier on in the season. So if they can pull off some of that same magic, this could go all the way. And to figure out where it's going to be, let's take a look at the map bans. And it was interesting. The format, 4 maps banned first, the final 5, the picks.
Okay, so you can see him taking off quite quickly. Consulate and Skyscraper to fall. And, happy about the Skyscraper ban. Just not a map I enjoy. Bank and Nighthaven to follow up. Tough picks on my end, Run. I love watching both those maps, but that does leave us with Clubhouse, Border, Lair, Kafe, and Chalet. Man, Lair, let's freaking go.
That's an interesting pick for Tempr. Lair is the map that Five Fears absolutely dominated a very good F5 team on in the semifinal. 7-1 victory, and they honestly made F5 look a little bit silly coming into that map, how good they played it. Also, Five Fears has played that map every single round here, and they have won it every time. That is going to be a very tough matchup there for Tempr, but they get to start off on Clubhouse, my friend.
Let's go. Clubhouse, a textbook map here, right? If you've ever played a round of Siege, you've played it on Clubhouse. So to start us off, it's back to the basics, Run. You gotta handle and show that you can handle the defaults. Gym bedroom up top being that primary and just an absolute devil to get into, and then of course the basement down below. Those sites going to be just incredibly difficult for two teams who have really come into their own in creating their strats. I'm excited to see. It's who's going to win the ban phase to start us out.
I mean, not surprising to see a shield go down and then Kaid or Cade, depending on where you're from, to make sure that those hatches just a little bit easier to get open on the attacking side. So I think that's a good call. Interesting opening bans here to start. Feels kind of standard, even in the new banning system for Clubhouse to start. And then the Capitao in Mira. Boy, these are some of the default operators coming in. And the fact that you get to ban 3 ops per side means that it completely changes up the way the game's being played.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that part of it, right? The new bans have been absolutely great. It allows you to get some of those pivotal players off the board and then maybe a little bit of target banning, right? The Capitao coming out as the ban is honestly, it's cooking. They're cooking with this one. Great for the hatch drops, especially when you're trying to get in and make your plant in the church arsenal area. You can't necessarily take a couple of shots or easier shots when you're dropping hatches now. So you need a little bit of that util dump, which means, though, Run, that Ying is going to stay on the board, at least for now.
Yeah, gonna leave Ying. It's gonna leave Blackbeard on the board and the Hibana. That's the other one that we had seen, or really the combination of the Hibana or the Maverick for those hard breachers to open it up. But leaving all the hard breachers gives them the options to open it. Gonna stop those the extra operators that sort of balance that out. Monty can make the game feel a little bit one-sided. Capitao can make it feel a little bit one-sided, depending on the way that they're gonna focus on entry. So I think that's just a good call there from both of the teams to start off on this ban phase.
All right, here we are. The bans are done. The maps are in, and round 1 of this best of 5 is going to get going. It's going to take us down to the basement to start us out, Run. No surprises really there. Defense, going a little bit of the standards. Azami was left on the board, so the Architect will be allowed to cook. See him kind of setting up that either that strategic defense on the generator, with blue, or potentially hold up near the dirt area. Either way, tough one to push into, and then it's slow down city. We're wanting to make sure that they can have a little bit of an investment into the roam game without making sure that you can't just jump straight into sight. Both Smoke and Goyo are going to try to prevent that one.
Yeah, and obviously you got to watch out for the gunners here on this team. Keeping Zers on the Goyo, and then Gasher running that shoddy. We saw some unbelievable play from him during that semifinal series, running that shoddy upstairs, playing on bank and in the basement. So this is going to be a dangerous one. Tempr working to get this thing started. I love the Deimos pick here from Valen too. So good on the maps with the breachable floors. Going to make it a little bit easier to try and identify the roamers here. And you can see heavy roam game from 5 years on defense. They've got 3 upstairs on the 2nd floor.
Yeah, that's why you're bringing the Smoke and the Goyo, right? Is so you can have a little bit of room to stretch out your legs on the defense. Try to grab some of those entries. As you know, if you claim that entry pick, there's a high chance that you're going to claim the rest of the round. So it is going to be important. Got somebody all the way up on the 2nd floor. You can see Azami already kind of moving back down to try to play spoiler here on the 1st floor, but nobody really there for a contest just yet.
Well, they left the whole jacuzzi, like master bedroom side of the map completely open, and oh, look at that. Zers and then BJL answering back in quick fashion. They were sort of holding from the defensive side the garage cache and left the other side of the map completely open, and that's the first spot we see a little bit of action here as finally they answer back, taking down Kool-Aid.
Yeah, kind of an interesting couple of early trades, right? The Fuse gets caught lacking on the camera outside of the spawn, and then just a shot from a hatch you knew was open means part of your area denial game off the board. Getting those smokes done early was huge.
Big
Gonna
miss.
find Gasher starting to rotate, and that's going to equalize us up on the body balance.
Yeah, Gasher didn't realize that he had a sight line there through the door, sort of a little bit of siege timing in between them. Becomes a little bit of this Grim utility come out and really put Zers in a little bit of a pickle, identified on either side of his position.
Okay, now they're starting to get into the final bit of the round here, and some pressure is starting to be put onto Azami, who's, of course, made their way back to the side, but huge pick. Tweety gets ripped off the board, still holding on to the stairs.
Look at that!
On. BJL now good for a 3-piece as they find themselves up in the man advantage. Arc to clean it up. And, I don't know, a little bit of a back and forth here in the 1st round, but definitely 5 Fears looking pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to need to see Tempr work on that roam clear a little bit more. 3 players upstairs, 5 Fears playing very aggressively defensively. I mean, looking for the peaks outside, taking down the fuse early. Tempr is going to have to be very careful approaching this map because it looks like we talked about, 5 Fears potentially the better team on paper. Showing off there on round 1. Now it is club, it's defense, it's the first round of the first map of a best of 5, so there's plenty of opportunities left for both of these teams.
Well, I like that they're getting aggressive early, right? That just shows some initiative to try and get the early round victories done, dusted, and dealt with. So we're going to take it up to the gym bedroom area. No castle to be had here to stop that pressure from the highway windows. Instead, it's going to be a pretty similar setup, right? We've got the Azami and the Goyo still on the board. Well, I guess 3 new operators in, and Tubrau to try to slow things down on the hard breach. Ella being brought out, those Grismonts being great for getting that shield break, which of course Tempr is bringing to the table. Blackbeard is here. And then Fenrir still leaning into that area, but just a little different in the way that they approach it.
Man, I love this play here. You know, you think back to like the end of year 9 when Fenrir was banned like every single time you play Clubhouse. Like you could not play Fenrir on Clubhouse because his ability to slow down, identify those pinch points, block off the attackers they tried to make their way in. He was banned so often, and here hardly ever banned. And now playing this map and this first engagement between the Blackbeard and the Azami arc. Be a little bit careful, but geez, just fried Roxo.
Come on, you got a shield, my friend. Roxo deleted off the board is going to take us into the main advantage over to 5 Fears, but quickly traded back. Geek's able to take Arc back and a little bit of retaliation. 4-4 now we sit as the first minute is gone, and the tag team going to work that 2-pronged approach here to open everything and try to start cutting off these defenders as they rotate back to site, much like you saw on that first round.
Seeing them work on the cache CC side, they've got the main breach open, but this is a gym bedroom site, so they've spent a lot of time focusing on the con side take here, but they still have got a ton of work cut out for them. They still have plenty of time though, but look at that C4 over the wall. BJL is going to claim it, but going to lose his life very quickly. The trade's just ringing out like crazy right now.
That's right, and then when the dust settles, it is going to be 5 Fears with the main advantage as they claim it by 1. Going to open up that environmental ingredient, stop them from pushing in from the opposite side. Deimos, Geek, Ace, the last 2 left alive. So take a second, reassess, readdress, and get your head back into it because you're down in the body balance. You're still looking to claim your first round.
Yeah, that final minute of gameplay ticking down. 3v2 right now. Tempr a little bit on the back foot, but they still have got the Deimos and Geek running the ace. Got a little bit of utility left. One more nade, but no. A huge miss, not identifying. They had a player back in Logi just to claim a life, and Gasher takes down Geek all up to Valen.
Yeah, that was a huge play. Now they're able to finally answer back. A quick pre-fire, but the Fenrir gadget's going to slow down the approach. And now it's 30 seconds left in the round. You've got a 1v2 that you got to try to bring back. A little bit of intel. It's going to try to suss out where this Fenrir is sitting at. Both of them on the backside waiting for the potential push in here. Looking towards the stairs, but some siege timing going to claim it. Kool-Aid says good night and sleep tight.
Big win again, so now we've got 2 on defense here for 5 Fears, taking down Tempr. They look like they got a little bit closer, but still a bit of a problem there, walking up, fighting, not really gaining enough space early, and then losing some of those fights, and a little bit of a misdrone there in Logi, sort of shut down that Tempr attack, gave 5 Fears the advantage as they walked in. We're going to get to see the third site now, CC Cache. I know you were looking forward to see that fourth site, but we are never, ever going to see a bar stage, my friend.
Listen, all I'm saying is you can't say you're a good team unless you can defend bar stage. That's all I'm saying. If you can defend bar stage, you're clearly at the top of the top, the 1%, the elite defenders. Not going to be the case here, Run. We are going to take it up to that cache CCTV site And we're going to switch up some operators. This time, normally you see that castle being brought out in the gym bedroom area, put some pressure onto or stop the pressure from the windows. But when you get to cache CCTV, it's a fun little change up. Right now, you get that extension down below, the swamp hold. Couple that with the Legion and the Ella to stop any shield plays from advancing very quickly. Oh yeah, I think this is a good defensive hold here.
The big question is going to be, how is Tempr going to respond on the attacking side? Leaning into the shields a little bit more, plus heavy on this hard breach. They're going to make sure they're able to get all of that open. The Thatcher, the Ace, the Thermite, they've got all of the tools that they need. Just need to get that working early here. The big focus is going to be on that main breach.
Still kind of bringing that two-pronged approach here. Still going to see that extension put to the left. Sees him on the roof. BJL just having an absolute banger right now as he sits 5-1. And they've opened up the backside. Now they can start to put some pressure on, but they've got the power of friendship to try to see him through here. First one off the board, going to be the Thatcher. Now, they didn't bring any sort of breach denial on the other side, so really going to be trying to figure out how to stop those gadgets, maybe those sound cues, of course, from coming in. Either way, he's off the board and not going to be able to do anything.
Tons of intel here on the 5 Fears side, right? They brought out 3 BPs, so that's something that the Thatcher could have dealt with, but said it. They opened up all of the main breaches. They got those sight lines in. Now they just need to watch out, but look at this! The Ella Blackbeard fight!
Oh my gosh, in the bathroom. He's gonna find it. Kool-Aid and BJL both claim one. Another goes down. All up to Roxo now. Thermite is gonna be good for one as Kool-Aid gets taken off the board. A quick flick towards the chassis, but it's gonna be too difficult. Too tough to deal with. The defense is just absolutely frying right now, so it's a 3 up, 3 down, my friend.
3 up, 3 down. Yeah, this is a tough one here, and we're going to have a little bit of a tech pause as one of the player DCs and comes back, but as we head into the ban phase, who's it going to be? I don't know whether or not we'll see the Blackbeard go. I mean, another one of the shields down, take down one of the hard breach ops potentially. Yeah, there it is, Ace.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, they have just dealt with the Blackbeard, right? They have had zero issue with having a Blackbeard on the board, so not going to be the target ban today. Instead, get the hard breach off the board. And I like that, right? Ace is one of those ones you can do it from a distance. Yes, on the hatches, it requires 2, but for the most part, you can do it from distance. Now with Thermite, you've got to get up close, which can, of course, put you in danger of the C4.
Yeah, as we wait for the last player to get back in, I'm kind of surprised that they banned the castle, to be honest. I don't feel like castle was a significant part of this defensive setup. There was operators certainly that were more difficult to deal with. The Azami on Ark's side, right? Trying to deal with that seemed like such a big a bigger threat to deal with, or the Goyo as well. We were seeing 5 Fears use the Goyo very effectively, so why pick the castle here after we've seen the full round rotate and him not really make a huge impact?
Okay, so I don't know. Castle's just a great ban, right? He's a pace setter. If he's on the board and he's being utilized, you've got to bring an operator that can specifically counter him. Somebody with hard breaches, somebody or with breach charges, somebody with any way to get those things down. So you're sort of dictating who can be brought on the attacker side of it. So the Castle ban, honestly, in the Big 25, I'm really here for it. Just want to take a quick second here and say thank you so much for the subs already today. We matched a few of them. There's a sub sale going on. So if you want those custom emotes, if you want to help some of your local casters out, you hit that button. Anyways, we appreciate it. Run 3-0 to start us out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just joining us, welcome everyone. This is the Baller Invite Grand Final here. We're on map 1 of a best of 5, so plenty of opportunity here for the Tempr to come back. Now, this was their map pick. We were expecting them to be a little bit stronger, I think, on Clubhouse at this point. It is defense. We know that 5 Fears is very good defensive-sided map, so looking for Tempr to make a strong comeback on the second half of this game. But to go down 3 rounds, no answer back, no real adaptation, we didn't see them put any sort of a dominant performance on. Even when they were sort of close, we're keeping it plus or minus as one player at this point. Five Fierce just controlling that a little bit better and punishing Tempr for some of those mistakes.
Well, the good thing is now you've seen all three sides. Now you know a little bit of what they're bringing to the table. Now you've got a chance to sit back and talk about how you're going to make the difference the next time you're going in. Head down to Church Arsenal for the next side. They're going to start us over and do it again. They're already looking like they're going to show pretty similar strat, right? We've got the Fuse back on the board now. He died early last time they took on the Church Arsenal. Jesus. Last time they played Church Arsenal, Fuse died first. He got caught slacking right outside while he was on the camp. So if he's allowed to be into it this time, might be a little bit of a difference. The question is it a double shield play or is Fuse running regular?
It seems like in the competitive scene, Fuse has definitely been running the shield as the primary option most of the time, though. The thing that I feel like you got to deal with on this basement site, though, if you're Tempr, is deal with this heavy extension roam game there from Five Fierce. They had 3 players on the second floor to start off the beginning of this round. Like you mentioned, punished Fuse for being outside, catching them there in stock upstairs. So they've got to deal with that. So I'd love to see them bring out one of their roam clear operators as an alternative here. Dokkaebi is still available. She used to be almost a 100% pick on most of these attacking maps. You still have got her available. Try and run some of that extra utility to deal with where Five Fierce is setting up now. Right now, at least they're showing most of the team downstairs, but they're starting to make that rotate back up onto the first floor.
Yeah, bans have kind of changed up who gets banned. You got more opportunities to ban, and the people that were the most aren't even in a thought for that anymore. We used to see the Azami Valkyrie ban just about standard, right? And on the other side of it, the Dokkaebi Monty, could be the deal. Now, only one of those survives, right? Monty being almost a perma-ban, as shield plays are just ridiculous to deal with sometimes. No way, what a play! Get some damage on the Nesta. Not enough to get the kill, but definitely going to make them proceed with caution.
Yeah, and that's huge too. At least Nesta survived, kept the Ram alive. They absolutely need that utility here to try and open up some of the floor, especially over kitchen. Ram is so good for that piece. Very, very specific in her utilization here. A great operator when you're playing basement site on Clubhouse here. Now, the observer was showing us Gasher is holding out on the vigil way back over on the strip side, is waiting to play spoiler here to this Tempr attack, and if they don't identify him, if they don't drone him out, could come up huge late round here when that execute starts to happen and they're completely focused on the players downstairs.
Look at that. Fuse going to try to remove the smoke from the power position underneath. Rams opened up a ton, but not quite enough. And there it is. Nesta's going to find BJL, and that's the win condition here, at least early on, met for Tempr as they find themselves equalized. And look at that, playing spoiler, good for 2 and allowed to just rotate back down to sight. Gasher smashes, claims a huge man advantage, and now you put yourself into a 4v2. You gotta be careful, Nesta. That Ram drone hits you, you could be toast. You're on a low health scenario here.
It's not like he doesn't know that. It's his own drone. But yeah, Gasher comes up huge there, running the K1A, punishes Tempr for their mistake not identifying where, not using these roam clears, didn't put any pressure, allowed him to stay just chilling in the back and shutting down Tempr. Now, Geek and Nesta still alive, still able to put some pressure on this team, but man, they still have got a ton of utility in pocket. C4s, Impact still available. This is going to be a tough fight for Tempr. Let's see what they can pull off in the last 25 seconds.
Yeah, if ever there was a duo to get it done, these two could potentially bring it back. Now the Grim Bees drop, looking for that peak. Potentially a C4 rings out. Nesta's good for 1 onto Arc. The quick
okay.
Swing, life forfeit. Now they brought it back into an equalizer, but Kool-Aid not gonna do it. He said, "You shall not pass." Got him twice, and a good night's sleep tight.
Whew, all right, Five Fierce picks up another defensive win off the back of a fantastic play there from Gasher early on with the lurk, and then BJL to finish, or a Kool-Aid there to finish off with a double at the end Tempr again struggling, and Five Fears taking advantage of their mistakes. We haven't seen, a tremendous amount of strategic play yet. It's sort of all falling into place for Five Fears. So got to see Tempr step it up at this point. Still early in a best of 5, but really when you start off at this much in a deficit, it certainly can put a little pressure on the mental. Let's see. Tempr has made it this far. They have made it very far in a few different leagues in the last 6 months. So this is not a team that we're expecting to lose. But right now, Five Fierce has got an answer for everything they're throwing at them.
Yeah, so what do? What becomes the win con? You got to switch it up a little bit, right? You're down 0-4. The first in a best of 5. Got to do something a little bit sneaky, a little bit cheeky. And they're showing it right now, Run. The 2 operators specifically that I'd like to highlight here, the Amaru Glass potential, right? We've been seeing a ton of roam out of Five Fears, leaving the site not free, but relatively empty. A quick plant with some smokes could be absolutely devastating.
I love it, right? Answer back. We said they needed to change up something here to try and find an answer for what Five Fears is doing now. The first step, though, is don't make any mistakes at this point. So you can bring the Glass, you can bring the Amaru, but they have got to watch their mistakes. They've got to play a little bit more perfect Siege at this point, or Five Fears is just punishing them for all those little mistakes. They're working on this setup here, droning out the second floor, and right now, this time, Logi completely clear except for a little bit of the Goya utility, and the fact that they didn't reinforce the wall almost feels like Five Fears is inviting Tempr in, saying, you know what, bring it on, come at me.
It's a trap! All right, Glass gonna get active with some smoke, and here it is, prime prepped and poised. Amaru's ready to send in, heads up to the stairs, and they just push right
there
in.
It is.
There's the flashes ringing out, and they're caught off guard. Roxo and Geek good, both finding one. Now onto the backside, they're gonna have to put themselves in a retake, and now Plant's going down, and it's just absolutely falling apart for Five Fears. They said you had to switch it up. Well, that's exactly what they did, and now we find ourselves in a post plant. It's a 5-2, and the best opportunity looking for Tempr here. They start to put some pressure onto the Azami, the last alive, and it's a good night.
It's a good night flawlessly, my friend, as Tempr just absolutely dominates there with a little bit of a quick execute. Completely upsets that Five Fears defense. No coverage in Logi. Good identification there from the attackers. Finded they had an opportunity in entry. And then, yeah, that combination of the Amaru, that was the play. Now, of course, Five Fears is up 4 rounds to 0. They can certainly afford to lose 1 attacking round at this point. But that was a great setup there from Tempr, and they pulled it off.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Man, so the scoreline not really telling the story right now, right? 4-1 feels acceptable on a attacking half for Clubhouse, right? One more, and they hit the standard. It has been anything but standard going into these first 5 for sure. So we head to the cache CCTV, the last round of the first half of the first map, and they're going to get a little bit of intel on the board. They're going to switch it up as well. Zer's putting themselves onto the Malusi, still going to stick the smoke play. And this time, Gasher puts himself on the Echo. Not playing lurk mode, not playing impact late flank. They're playing just straight denial.
5 seconds to go.
I love that. I love that play here, but the extra intel from Gasher. Gasher, we saw do a great job on Kafe running the Echo, being a little bit dangerous here, backed up by Arc, continuing to run the Azami. I wonder whether or not that's going to be a change-up we see from Tempr in the ban phase. Azami just sort of slowing this team down a little bit too much, and not having the Capital, not having the Monty certainly makes this attack on the second floor CC just a little bit more difficult. So I think that's a little bit in the Five Fears side as well.
Yeah, they definitely got the bans for this site specifically, right? Capital to flush them off the catwalk, Monty to take that space. So instead, they'll do it the old-fashioned way. They're just going to open up breach and start to take a look, get some drones inside, put some pressure onto some of these players. They don't have the castle this time, so the extension that they were utilizing on the last not going to be available this time.
And Asher just playing very aggressively there, right up, I was going to say, behind the deployable, which he just took down, but backed up there by Zers, holding on to the angle with the Malusi on the red stairs, so good coverage there on the red stairs side, but they did the work, open to this wall, wide open, and now open up the sight line onto the garage. Going to be a little bit more difficult to hold on to that, but that BJL playing the Jaeger downstairs. Does Roxo know?
Does get himself into a prone position. Life saved as the intel claimed him. He wasn't able to the big rotate, and we're going to take some steps to make sure that he doesn't get effective runouts there. He went for it. He took a shot, and he paid the price. BJL off the board. Man advantage into the hands of Tempr. They sit up by 1. Oh, he equalized. Oh,
yo!
You're so crazy on the catwalk, Blackbeard. You tried it before. You failed it twice. Not the play, my friend. So, flashing out the Azamias, they have got to find a way to deal with them. Claim that man advantage back. They're going to. Tweety's going to take Arc off the board, and now we're going to find ourselves equalized on the man count.
Great shot from downstairs up onto the catwalk, finally taking Arc down. His reign of terror done, giving him a little opportunity here to gain some space, but there is still a ton of defensive assets upstairs. Honestly, BJL taking a little bit of the aggressive stance downstairs, kind of giving his life away again, and Tempr finally finding a little bit of an angle. It is tied up 3-3 though with the last 30 seconds.
That's right, they've claimed it, and they still have the smoke canisters. They find one of them to slow down that push from the catwalk area, and with 2 more in hand, time could run out pretty quickly here, especially because it's in the default. Last one, looking onto the main breach, trying to find this kill onto Zers, and then they need it if they want to push in. They did. They got right in there. Smoke is not sending them out. Air jab goes off, and they're going to push in red. Cool it. Oh my gosh.
No, he missed it.
One into the smoke. They didn't get the plant down. They denied it. A perfect presence of mind, and they take him off the board. It is going to look like a 5-1 half.
No way. I thought the plant did go down. I thought Gasher's playing the Echo, goes for the plant denial using the Echo drone, and I thought he missed it, but he got it at the last second, denied the plant, and then 5 Fears shutting it down on defense. Man, that was a crazy ending to the first half. 5 Fears pulls it off, shuts down Tempr on their map pick. Huge round there. The only round we saw them win, Gym Bedroom flawlessly off the combo of a Amaru Rush. So it was the only opportunity they saw. As we switch sides, change it up, we're going to see some similar bans this time. Kaid and now the Thermite. Tempr wanting to make sure that it's difficult for them to open up these sight lines.
5-1, a bit of an uphill climb for Tempr. We're only 1 away from that coveted match point scenario, and defense going to lean into that hard breach. They're going to take both Ace and Thermite off the board, and that makes getting in for the Gym Bedroom push just a little bit more difficult, right? Because that's the standard. You bring enough hard breach to open everything so you can cut off the rotates, find yourself the man advantage, and get in and plant. But we're going to go down to the Church Arsenal to start us off, which means Hibana, the Hatch Queen, still going to be in play.
Yeah, the combination of Hibana and the Ram on this side as well. Now, you talked about Ying being available. Kool-Aid going to at least show the Ying initially. So on the denial side, tons of area denial. The smoke, the Goyo. Boy, what seems to be the staple at this point for holding onto a clubhouse basement defense. Plus the mute. I think that's a good call. 5 Fears, very good with the intel. So the fact that Valen's bringing out the mute to try and manage some of that, great call there. And then Nesta on the castle again. And holding up the upstairs. 2 upstairs right now with Nesta holding down the first floor. So big roam game from Tempr on the defense.
Yeah, not just roam. We're an investment into the extension here. Castle's fully upstairs. They've got a plan B for when the pressure starts to mount, as he can drop back down to the hatches. So we're spread out here. Now, what does that mean? That means an IGL can say, hey, let's just make a quick site direct play here. The problem is, you got double area denial, right? Goyo's going to slow that down. Tweety onto the smoke is going to slow down that attempt. So you still have to play it the old-fashioned way. You still need to get your clears.
You see him working this, I I was gonna say working the vertical here, but the impact the impact nade comes out, shuts down the ram drone. So he's only got 2 boogies left here from Zerus, but they've got a pair of shields to try and push up and gain some space and push this defense back. Tempr is playing a little bit aggressively, and man, Roxo wins that battle.
No kidding. Quickly taken off the board, but answered back. Arc, Zers, Kool-Aid, each finding themselves a kill is going to give them the man advantage. They've got one of the shields off the board, but now it starts to get a little tricky. Now they've got the floor opened up as Ram was allowed to go to work. You've still got one, or actually both of you upstairs onto the first floor, which means there's no defenders down in sight.
Yeah, that's wild, but I don't think they have dirt open. They don't really have any of these clear sight lines. Tempr playing very aggressively, but look at this. Loses the C4 and loses the gun battle. Well played there by Zers.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they still have to get the diffuser. So yeah, that would mean, yeah, we're not heading straight to site. We still got to deal with this roam game, and now in a 1v3, Geek, the last alive, he's got to show us if he's got that dog in him to try to bring this to a 5-2. Well, we're looking at a match point scenario. Made his way back down to site. Big rotate, the scenic route. Now they're going to start to open up, and he's going to nope right the heck on out of there. Back over to church. Thinks potential for the distraction is there. The hatch drop. Now they've got the intel, know exactly where he's at. Looking for that one misstep. Locked in onto the head. They're going to start progressing forward. The cut is on the main angle. Now Blackbeard's able to come up, but Zer is able to take him off the board. And just like that run, we find ourselves on a match point scenario.
Feels like a very familiar place that we saw from the semifinal last week, where 5 Fears went up 6-1 versus F5. That was on Lair, though, to start with, and they put on a tremendous showing here on the opening map, and then struggled a little bit as the rest of that semifinal went on. Feeling like a little bit of a repeat, at least here at the beginning. 5 Fears up 6-1, 1 round away from shutting down Tempr on their map pick on map 1 of this best of 5. Tempr, it is time to lock in. Put up a couple more rounds here before you hop off this map pick and then have to do battle on border.
Yeah, these next couple, even if you lose, could be very impactful to the mental. This is a marathon, not a... So one map gone, not necessarily a deal breaker, right? Yes, you're down a map, but it was Clubhouse. Bring it back onto the potential next one. We'll see. I don't know. They're setting up for it here. Mira left on the board. They're going to double down on trap duty as Geek and Nesta also going to bring some out. Frost and Fenrir ready to go. Slow down that double shield approach that we saw in the last one. But look at this. Amaru again, second time. Maybe a little hatch play. That would be cool.
Yeah, that feels dangerous from the 5 Fears side. So what's Tempr got to try and deny that? I like the Mira, right? We didn't see the Mira played on the first half because she was banned out. This time she's available, and feels like when Mira's on the board, it really forces the attacker to bring some special ops to make sure that they deal with that. 5 Fears didn't, so maybe that gives Tempr a little bit of a boost, makes it more difficult. There's no Twitch, there's no Ash to try and clear out some of those Mira windows. They're going to have to do it more mechanically here, at least right up in Mira's face. So that could be the boost that they need. Combination of, they got to watch out. The traps there from Frost. I love seeing this.
Man, Warden down there, flashes be damned, waiting for that hatch drop. They've got 2, and Amaru's going to rush in. But
what a play!
Sheesh! 3-2 as we find ourselves the first minute done and dusted. The exchange just being absolutely crazy. And yet again, Tempr finds themselves on a tough one.
The Frost man!
Gonna claim one. Now into a 2-2 as the Deimos ping goes off. Ark's able to find him in an absolute flow state right now. Adapting like liquid. Adapting to every single play now into a 1v2. The person we talked about the pre-show being such an important part of the team, now the only one alive. Last on an island, match point scenario, has to find 2. Good for 1, takes the second, but Ark is gonna shut him down. Map 1, over and done.
Another 7-1 victory for 5 Fears to start off a battle here, put down a statement versus this Tempr team, and then Ark again picking up another MVP. We talked about him at the very beginning of this being one of the guys that we had to watch out for, and he certainly showed up here on map 1, my friend. Nice job for Five Fears. Tempr, you've got to show up for the rest of this grand final, put something special together. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be taking a little bit longer, switching out observers this time. But map 2, the rest of this grand final is coming up.
That's right. Just want to say special thank you to Rennie for coming in clutch and observing our first map for us. And it was over quick, right? It was over quick, 7-1. That's not a win. That's a statement, homie. And they made one best of 5. So what do? You sit back, you relax, and you wait for the second map. We'll catch you on the next one. Ayo.
Let's go.
want to be myself. Don't talk to nobody else. I want to be someone special. I don't want to be a typical person. To get away from my devil. To start from fresh with a fundamental. I feel it, I feel it right. I feel it right. I feel it right. I feel it right. I'm learning how to be a better version of you. And now I realize I'm talking to myself. Doesn't really need to be forever. Doesn't make you feel better. I feel it, I feel it right. I feel it right. I feel it, I feel it right. I feel it right. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. I feel it. I feel it right. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it.
I've been in and out my mind since I hit your phone. I've been counting up the times that I did you wrong. I just want you by my side when I get real gone. Feel it's been a little while since we got along. Yeah, we've been playing stupid games, the situation rotates. And they say communication, safe relations, okay. Medicated how I'm patient, wasting time ain't the way. Cause I can see it on your face. I've been tossing, turning, staying up all night long. I've been calling, yearning, wondering what I did wrong. I could tell by your eyes you got something to hide. So open your mind up, let me inside, and let's make it right. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? Cause I keep trying to figure it out. Oh no, oh no. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? I'm only picking up what you're putting down. You'll be tripping, I don't know what about. So what's the problem right now? Okay, now hold up. Let me get something right off my chest. I've been meaning to read into it, time to put it to rest. Is it stress? Is it that I ain't answer your text? Don't you treat it like amnesia, you know I always forget. Stirring the pot real hot, watch how the plot thickens. Around the clock, tick tock, need more than 20 seconds to get your attention before it's on to the next thing. And I'm over here again wondering, can I hold ya, hear your truth, pull you closer, talk it through?
Girl, you know that I'm the one that you can come and complain to. Your silhouette's amazing, but your brain is a maze too.
So can you help me find my way while I find something to say?
I know the arguing just augments everything going both ways, but baby, I can see it on your face.
I've been tossing, turning, staying up all night long. I've been calling, yearning, wondering what I did wrong. I could tell by your eyes you got something to hide. So open your mind up, let me inside, and let's make it right. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? Cause I keep trying to figure it out. Oh no, oh no. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? I'm only picking up what you're putting down. You'll be tripping, I don't know what about. So what's the problem right now?
Ooh, you wanna come and get me, kick me down and make me hurt myself. Oh no, you will never forget me. I'm imprinted on your heart, I swear. At times you make me angry, but I know that it could always be worse.
nation. It ain't fair, but I feel like we're the nation. So raise the flag and do the preparation. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. Welcome to reality. Can't fuck with that. It's okay to be on top like forever, man. This is hard fucking beeping after aliens. We on top of the world, we the sapiens. Do you understand massive complication there? Do you really think you know what I'm made of? My flow is so magical, I'm old, call me Gandalf. You can shine, but I'm about to go off. Heard me wanna believe what I'm saying, but I cannot do this at all.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We're here for map number 2. Map number 1, a bit of a statement run. 7-1 on Clubhouse. The default map pick, the textbook map, gets shown some dominance. So, map number 2, what are we in store for?
That's right, my friend Border, and you said it. Five Fears put up a statement again on map 1. Semifinals, 7-1 victory on Lair. Grand finals, 7-1 victory on Clubhouse. This is the team to beat right now. They are on fire, but we had a little bit of a long break, changed out the observers. Tempr had plenty of time to strategize here for Border.
That's right. You got to talk about it. Back to the drawing board, my friend, and we go from kind of go both ways on attacker defensive sided on Clubhouse to decidedly attacker sided. Now, we've been seeing that switch up a little bit, right? Everything that we say is set in stone as far as stats can always be undone in a hurry. Typically, though, Five Fears having the advantage coming in on the attack side of it. You're going to see a couple of devastating bans right out the gate. We're going to take Ying off the board. We talked about her in the last map as being that util dump machine. And then, of course, Azami. Now, on a map like Border, Azami rings a little bit different. Cheeky little peaks and head holes, and everything is soft breachable, so you never know if you're coming up to a Kiba barrier or you're coming up to just a straight head hole. Either way, not going to be played today.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Ark was absolutely dominating with the Azami playing on Clubhouse, holding down the catwalk, completely unstoppable on a map that she is even better on utility-wise. Great pick there from Tempr to make sure that, or from Five Fears to make sure that, you don't have to deal with her at all. Now on the Tempr side, you talked about Ying. Love the Glass pick too. Glass, I think, brings a lot to Border. Plenty of breachable walls, lots of opportunities for smokes holding those long angles. I think that's a good call there from this defense. And of course, they're going to start off on the second floor. Going to hold down Armory Archives to start, and with this combo of shutting down some sight lines too with the castle. It's he's certainly raised his value in competitive play.
Yeah, agreed with you. Now, here's a bit of a fun lineup on the defense. You've got your area denial. Goyo is set onto the board. Castle to stop some of that quick. We're really going pace setters here, Run, because we also have Fenrir on the board and the intel deny of Mute. The only kind of like unknown, and maybe not unknown, but question mark potentially, Roxo bringing out the Sentry, which yet again still brings some devastating util to the play.
Yeah, bringing out the C4s. I mean, you still have got 2 on, so that's going to be the thing that this Five Fears attacking team watching out for. But look at that. Vela, we talked about him, one of the MVPs twice in this tournament so far. They have certainly got to watch out for him. Taking down top east and popping the Goyle canister to shut that thing down. Used up a little bit of the intel or the utility early here for this team, so Five Fears is going to have to deal with it. But they can just take their time, which they're doing right now.
That's right. The nade rings out as Gasher's able to take Roxo off the board. The numbers getting equalized. Blackbeard to send some shots vertically playing. A C4 to answer back.
Oh, I love that toss.
Just yet. Still held up into the break room, but deleted as BJL is able to find Tweety off the board. Man advantage, that body balance now tipped into the hands of 5 here. Still a lot of time left on the map here, so defense still needs to do some slowdown here. Everybody's up top, everybody's close to sight. So next step, you gotta get Gasher off the board. Get rid of that shield and then put some attention onto the Deimos. Either way, vertical play is gonna be a thing that stands out.
There is tons of utility here from the attacking side still. 3 of the Deimos pings, 2 ace charges, all of the shield bashes there from Gasher, and 4 sends gadgets. They have got a ton of utility. Still 4 nades on the board as well. Tempr has got an awful lot that they need to deal with besides just the guns in the hands of this attacking team. And man, look at this, just taking shots through the floor, not connecting, but still just forcing the defense to move.
Yep, and that's the big thing, right? Push him into a mistake. Let him get caught by the cut. He manages to escape the Deimos ping, and now with 47 seconds left, and they're still putting some attention onto those Goyo canisters. Yeah, he's in a bit of the attack in a bit of a stall out here. They've got to find the flank, they
What a nade!
Now Gasher goes down, and that's going to be Kool-Aid to find too, and just like that, Geek the last one alive as he takes a quick pre-fire through into the break room. Not going to find anybody. 1 is down. Zers is down, but potentially recoverable here as they're still outside. So 1v3 potentially as it stands. Deimos ping going to go out and reveal the location. They're going to go ahead and get up that 3rd member. So man advantage now by 2. 8 seconds left, and the stall out game being absolutely huge. Looking for the one on it, and Jazz is able to find one. Zers get taken off the board, but BJL, the Deimos, the one we said you got to take him down, able to find that kill. They find round 1, and they do it on the attack side.
Yeah, perfectly played there from the Deimos. I used the pings. He saved all 3 of those until the very end. He's able to stay out of way and just give all the intel on where that final defender was playing. Good use of the bulletproof cams there as well. The pings coming out. Geek's able to pick up 1 at the end, but not enough to shut down the 5 Fears attack. They pick up their first. So out of the past 8, or call it 9 rounds at this point, 8 of them have gone to 5 Fears. So Tempr struggling to start off here. Now, that is a good opportunity there. Typically, we talk about that 2nd floor being the best defensive opportunity that the team has here on border, and they lose that to 5 Fears. They're going to try it again, and this time, yeah, what was that? Was that a custom supply run? It is, yeah. They're run. Yeah, no way. They're going to run custom supply to start off on their 2nd defensive round after losing the 2nd floor. This is an interesting strategy here from Tempr.
I like it. I like it. Stats be damned. They're going to try to run it, and not for the first time are we seeing it as well. Right? A couple of comp teams stepping up into the off-site play. Let's see if they got what it takes to do it, though. That'll be the big question. Already going to see some action as they're kind of putting that distractor sound cue into the bathroom.
Well, it's the thing we saw from this Tempr team. The only round that they managed to win on Clubhouse is one where they caught 5 Fears off guard. So, all right, you're going to run the quad site. Yeah, it's statistically definitely not one of the better sites. There's a reason that it's the quad, but whether or not it catches this team off guard, that could be the difference maker here. They're able to find one, pick it up, but oh no. In a 5v3 already, 5 Fears is putting the hurt on Tempr.
Yeah, no kidding. Looking to try to get it done. Now the last, not even going to find it. All of
All right, my friend, heading into round 3, 5 Fears on attack has picked up 2 in a row. Tempr, they tried to catch him off guard, run the customs downstairs, but it does not work out in their favor. As a matter of fact, the attacking team picks up a flawless for their efforts. Seems like a bad pick at this point. So now they pick into one of the more common rooms this time. We're going to try the bathroom downstairs, and whether or not this can be the hold. We'll see whether or not they go big extension in there into workshop. They brought along a combination here with the castle and the mute, going to try and deny some of this intel. And Interestingly, they didn't bring out the Goyle or the smoke, so they're really not interested in trying to slow down 5 Fears. They're going to engage them a little bit more directly.
Well, are we surprised that customs didn't work? No.
No.
Were we huffing copium that maybe it would? Yeah.
Also, no.
Wait, what?
Oh no, you are on an island, my friend, on the offsites for sure. There's a reason that the stats are the way they are, my friend. Yeah, seeing Tempr try it though, you know what? I'm not mad at it. It's a best of 5. You got plenty of opportunity here to try out the other sites. They're putting on a show for the fans. We appreciate everybody being here to watch this Baller Invitational Grand Final.
Okay, so what do? You've had a bad couple of rounds, bad map, now you're 2 down in the scoreline. We expect some attacker-sided win. Prize, for sure, but you got to start thinking about win con. What can you do to switch it up here?
All right, so they've got to deal with the Monty this time around. So managing the shields plus the flank control, and you've got the Osa as well. So this team has brought out an interesting attacking lineup. Doesn't feel quite standard here, but it works. It sort of counters everything that they've got. No extension there into Workshop, and you can see already the plant is going down. Managed to walk right in, gain a little bit of space, and then unfortunately the last 2 operators that they had on site taken down. Valen is alone upstairs on his own.
Man, not a great place to find yourself, not just as a player, but as a team. They just walk in, punch everybody in the face, and then claim territory, claim a post plant. And now trying to claim a flawless. Looking for some vertical here, but it's not going to be enough to get it done. 2 flawless, and they're going to claim them back-to-back as Arc solidifies the last kill run. Border's looking a little tough here.
Yeah, and Arc picking up the final, the MVP of the last map, one of the MVPs on other rounds during this Baller Invite tourney, just carries 5 Fears into a double flawless in a row. Tempr is not a bad team, but right now 5 Fears is just wiping the table with them. It is Border. It is, again, attacker-sided, so we're seeing 5 Fears play into the better side on both of the maps, take advantage of that, walking in and walking all over Tempr at this point. So the bans come out. We're going to see the Deimos and the Goyo go down. I think, honestly, Tempr wins that battle there. Deimos is doing more trouble against this team. So losing that little piece of advantage, taking that away from 5 Fears is a great call.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, the Goyo getting taken off the board, I mean, that was half of your slowdown. So, yeah, in the ban battle, I think potentially 5 Fears coming out on top for that one. It's 3 up and 3 down. Tempr looking for a chance to get their first round on the board. A defense on Border. What do? They're going to bring a lot of slowdown. Ella, Malusi, Legion, all dedicated to making sure that you can't do whatever you're trying to do with speed. Hopefully that's the impact here to make this a little bit more of a game. We'll see if it pays out, Run. We got kind of a big extension here, or some roam cam going.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not that pays off. From a 5 Fears perspective, they've done a very good job of managing that, playing that a little bit aggressively, but Nesta just walking outside on the east, or on the valley side of the map, taking a couple shots. Again, not necessarily going for a kill at this point, but just trying to slow down the 5 Fears side. You said it on the onset. They brought along a list of operators to try and manage it, and they're going to back it up with a little aggressive defensive play. They have to be careful, though. 5 Fears was absolutely punishing them for being overly aggressive, and they were just better at the aggressive play. So they're going to have to watch this and look at this. Geek now trying to run out. They're going to board up that window as well. So that is 3 players we've seen push outside the map in the first minute, 45 seconds of gameplay.
I like the call here, right? Especially because it's not about specifically getting the kill. If you get one, yeah, great. You got a kill. But what is it doing? It's putting it into the heads that they're going to be aggressive, that they're going to make those quick peaks, that they're going to run out, and that can slow down your attacking team, right? That can play a little bit of that patience game, testing the pace here. We're equalized. Gasher taken off the board in trade of Malusi. Roxo to go down, but also Arc to follow. So now into a 3-3, but BJL still left alive. Sitting 6-0, not currently able to find death as the big rotate happens, takes the scenic route, and they're going to take a little bit of the long distance. I'm sure he hears. No way.
What a play!
Oh, my lord. Shield, good night. Sleeping tight. Huge play. Now they've got the man advantage. The shield is off the board, and it's going to be left up to BJL and Zers as they look to bring this round back into contention. Shots towards east, but it's not going to pay off. Geek's going to take Zers off the board, and now their best shot at finding a round here on border is a 1v3. The thing is, the other opponent has not seen death just yet. So, potential to bring it back, maybe. Plant, diffuser's cold. Might be a sit and talk about it moment.
Up until that previous kill that Geek picked up, BJL not only hasn't found death, but had more kills than the entire Tempr team combined through the first 3 rounds. So he's having a hell of a map to start off with, and he's going to take a little bit of a shot, find this defender playing upstairs in the fountain area. You know what? You said it. Even if he goes down, a little bit of time to talk about it at this point. They won 2 flawless in a row, losing the best defensive site here on border. Not honestly the end of the world. And Tweety picks up a kill, number 1.
Okay, they did it. First step off the board run. That's what you got to do. You just got to take that first one. After that, then you've got that feeling of, you can do this. Right? So 3-1, not a terrible place to find yourself. It's attacker-sided border. You take one more, you go on to the attack yourself. The thing is, you got to keep that pace up. You got to keep the vibe alive. And I hope that on this defensive run, they're going to keep that high-pressure situation, that potential for the run-out, still in the forefront of their minds.
Yeah, and Tempr on the defense side is going to play the more conventional site this time, pick up the Vent Workshop side of the map. They're going to head upstairs almost immediately, work on, they're going to have a stronghold upstairs, a really critical part of the way this site is played out defensively, but they can't put too many resources upstairs against an aggressive 5 Fears team. They might be able to take advantage of that and maybe pop a quick execute. We've seen them pull that off, but generally a little bit more strategic, a little bit more clear focused, and so far has been doing a great job. You said it, Tempr finally managed to get their one. They stopped the momentum, shut this team down, now looking to bolster that here with a Vent Workshop win on defense.
Yeah, they still got that attention up top, and you have to claim it. You said it, vertical is important, but last time, 5 Fears, they just pushed in and planted. So, what do they do to stop that? Well, they're going to bring out Steal the Traps, and I think that's the right call. We're not seeing a ton of aggression here out of the defense, though. That was kind of one of the win cons, run. You need to see him put some pressure on and slow the team down. Make it difficult to even get in the building.
Yeah, if they play too timid, that is exactly where 5 Fears is going to take advantage of that. So look at this, holding upside down, but Tweety wins that battle versus Zers. Not really having the same game. We've seen him before, 1 and 3 so far. Tweety's picked up 2 in the last 2 rounds, getting certainly more confident as they roll into the back half of border.
Yeah, no kidding. What a shot. And that will definitely put the pressure on. You've claimed that man advantage, and they don't have the cams. Roxo good for 1 as Ark's head gets ripped off the board, and so now man advantage by 2. Blackbeard, though, he's in a place to take a swing, and instead it's going to be the rotate down. Frost lives to tell the tale. Now, I don't know if they know that she's dropped. Well, they do now. That glass breaking is going to signify that somebody's there, and now Blackbeard's going to start to go on to the hunt.
Yeah, Blackbeard definitely watched Frost make the jump down, so he knew for sure, and now you said it, hunting Frost downstairs. She takes a couple shots here, and look at that, D shields too quickly after tossing a nade. Tweety's just on fire right now. Man, I feel like after we called him out, it's just absolutely shown up here, and found 3 for his efforts, and right now put this team in a 4v2 scenario, a minute 19 left. This is a great position, the best position we've seen Tempr at this point in the game.
Yeah, no kidding. Up by 2 in the man count, now up by 3 is BJL, the last alive. He is 7-1, but a 4-piece is going to be difficult. In fact, it's not even going to be probable or possible. Legion's going to take him off the board. Tempr's now good for 2.
Yeah, seeing 5 Fears struggle, and honestly, this feels like a repeat of what we saw during the semifinals match. 5 Fears absolutely dominated on map 1. 7-1 victory on Lair we talked about, and then what happened? F5 came back and beat them on Kafe on their map pick. So this time around, it's feeling very similar. Dominant performance by 5 Fierce, even a strong performance to start the map off, and then starting to sow some holes, starting to show some problems in their gameplay, and Tempr is taking advantage of it, coalescing right now, gaining a little bit of momentum, and they've got to carry that through. They go down 2 maps to 0 on this best of 5. This is a very difficult place to come back from. But 1-1, oh yeah, that means we're going to get to see at least Lair and Kafe.
Oh man, I can't wait for Lair. That's going to be spicy for sure. Undefeated by one, untested by the other. We're going to see some op swap in here as Solus is going to be on the board. Often talked about as nerfed into the ground, still brings that viable intel option to the table. And not only that, Tweety rocking the shotgun in hand. Probably one of my favorite ways to see the Souls played.
Yeah, absolutely murdered, some people have said, with how much Ubisoft nerfed her into the ground. Losing the gadget, changing the way that it was used. Yeah, just completely changed her up. And really, she was one of the top defensive operators. Really maybe brought her back, well, I don't want to say into balance, but certainly and lowered her pick rate for sure. Now, on the side of it, when this attacking team brings out an awful lot of utility, or is very focused on the intel side of the game, I think Solus brings even more to the table. So it's a great pick from the Tempr side. Tweety, like we said, on a roll right now.
Well, it leaves a gap to be filled, right? So Bravo's on the board to try to steal some of those gadgets. Frost's going to get active as Zer's yet again going to find death, and that's going to be a 1-4 start inside of 6 for Zer's, not having the map 2 that probably is waiting for. Whoosh! Okay, Kool-Aid gonna grab one off a crazy swing there. That's gonna equalize here, except for JL goes down. C4 is gonna confirm the kill and now put some man advantage, that body balance into the hands of Tempr as they're looking to try to tie things up here. A prone to potentially own position. Kool-Aid now good for 2 as Nesta's life is forfeit. They're going to make a bit of a rotate run. They're going to take the scenic route and approach this from a different spot. Tweety, though, this is going to take one down. Kool-Aid gone. Stop the flow of blood. Now into a 3v2. And a low health scenario for the Blackbeard. He is a bullet away from death, potentially. Started out as a great execute, is now turned into a tough situation, and the tie-up is here with just over 60 to get it done.
Yeah, still a lot of defensive utility that this attacking team needs to deal with. You still have Malusi traps on the ground, the Legion Goose, you can see it pinging out some of that utility right now, so giving away the position. But, man, BJL, I am honestly sorry. We mentioned his name and then struggled to do anything at this point, so it's time to come back. Gasher may lose this battle, but still plenty of rounds left. But this would be Tempr tying it up 3-3 half, and what a turnaround that would have been after the first 9 rounds that 5 Fierce picked up winning.
Yeah. Playing 4D chess here, and this time they're using C4s as well, my friend. That is a layered utility that just won them that round, and now they sit tied up 3-3. That feels like a different story run than the start we saw, right? 3-0. Yeah, okay, you can see that on attack. 3 for the defense to answer back. Absolutely adapted to the scenario. They find themselves in a good position heading to the attacker side.
Tempr adapting or 5 Fierce making it interesting? Which way is it going to go? Man, they absolutely shut this team down. What a swing in momentum we saw. 5 Fierce 7-1 victory on Clubhouse, comes in with 3 in a row to start this map off. We're talking about the death of Tempr in the early end of this best of 5 until Tempr absolutely turns it around, runs the whole round, rotate on the second half, picks up 3 in a row to tie this thing up. That is a huge shift in the way that we've seen this played out. Again, storyline doesn't seem to tell the tale, because 5 Fierce was so dominant on the second half, and Tempr had an answer for everything that they brought in the second.
Okay, now for the op swap, we're going to change it up. We're going to switch gears and see what the other side's going to bring to the table. Bans, how do they play out? Well, Tempr does not want to deal with that static trench warfare of Castle and Azami, so they're going to be the ones to fall for the defense, leaving a bit of a hole to fill on how you're going to or what deployables might be brought to the table. On the other side of it, Shield and Ying, Shield and Ying, Shield and Ying. Not a bad call.
Yeah, from a Tempr perspective, this time we talked about it. Arc was very good playing the Azami in Clubhouse. Not going to give him that opportunity this time, but it did have the mirror was not available, so we'll see whether or not Arc was just straight better on the mirror, and that's going to give them a boost. Gash are going to play the Echo again. We saw that huge plant denial as part of that 2FCC hold earlier. Going to try some of that same magic here. Now, the difference is this time Geek bringing out the Twitch to be able to try and deal with some of this utility and the mirror windows this time around.
Yeah, we've seen the Twitch at a Geek quite a few times in previous leagues, and he is a demon with that 417. So we'll see if he's going to get to work. Already a ton of impact through getting rid of those cams and trying to get rid of some of that denial. I think the big part, how are they going to deal with the mirror? Is the Twitch drone going to be able to get in and make a difference?
I think so, right? We saw a huge pick there, 3 in a row, clearing off utility, and this time the glass comes up huge as well with Valen taking out the mirror and just the trades ringing out, but BJL picks up another 8, 3-1, so still holding on. It's a 3-3 tied up now with 2 minutes left in this round, so plenty of opportunity there, but Kool-Aid just continues. Man, also 7-3-1, have a hell of a game to start off with.
No kidding. So Tweety is down. Man advantage is to the hands of 5 Fears. They're just kind of holding on, which means pressure for Tempr are going to start to mount into the office. So I'm not sure if, yep, okay, they are completely retrievable. They find one, and the long angle's opened up. So a plant off the chassis is a potential here. A little bit of an exchange down the hallway. They know they've got somebody in security. Now they're starting to make their way up into the found office area. Takes a couple of shots. BJL still holding down into the break room, denying that push in towards the fountain office area. They're going to take Zers off the board, but it's going to be traded as BJL takes Nesta as well. So now down into a 2-2 as Zers is completely confirmed on the kill. The swing in. Kool-Aid going to take Tweety down. Now into a 1v2. All up to Geek yet again. He's holding onto the angle. The plant's starting to go down. The cross is set. Use in hand. Potential to get the plant. We're in a little bit of a standoff, an old-fashioned Western showdown. So the rotate around, takes a couple of shots, gets some damage, but not enough to put Kool-Aid down. They now know where Geek is sitting at. Baiting him into it, almost gets caught on the pre-fire. A couple of shots towards the back end, onto the chassis. Now starting for that fake plant. Try to draw him in. Gonna look for the rotate here. Puts himself around. Sound cues almost loses their life, but just really just doing a fantastic job at stalling it out. Another fake plant. C4 rings out, not able to find it, but BJL able to continue his run and claim another kill.
3K that round to continue to pad the stats. Hell yeah, what a comeback for him, and shutting down and swinging the momentum again, this time away from Tempr. We said it's the best opportunity there the defense had to win up on that second floor, so they're going to take a little bit of a pause here at this point, but honestly, that was a huge comeback for 5 Fears. Well, if you're a Tempr fan, you want to see them continue the success they had on the back half of the first half of this map, which was dominant, but didn't show that same strategy coming out here as they started off on their attacking round. But they're going to have the option as we move down to the bathroom teller side, and Balin running the glass again. That was a great pick, and this is another great site to run them.
Yeah, that was a tough one, too. Just allowed to walk in and claim Mira's life. That was a tough pick, and you thought that potentially Tempr was going to be able to act off that. Vertical control very quick, side control very quickly, but in the end, the stall game just rang out. Geek wasn't able to get it done off the back of some fake planting, the possibility for a post-plant scenario. 5 Fears up by 1. 3 more to get it done.
Up by 1. And again, if you're just joining us, welcome everyone to the Baller Invitational Grand Final. It's a best of 5 here between 5 Fears and Tempr. 5 Fears has already picked up their first 7-1 victory on Clubhouse. We still have got Lair, Kafe, and Chalet left on the board. Depending on how this map goes, just a round ago, we were talking about Tempr coming back big and being able to put themselves on the board here and find a win on border to force that Lair Kafe for sure. Lair, though, that's really the map we got to be talking about, getting close to the end here. 5 years, played it every round, hasn't lost it so far in the Baller Invitational. A very good map for them. 7-1 victory versus the F5 team last week, and Tempr really untested, like you said, so we don't have a good idea about how this team could play against 5 Fears on it. So if I'm the Tempr team, you need to find a win here on border. You have to go into that map with at least a 1-1. If they're down 2-0, 5 Fears on a map that they are so good at is going to be a very dangerous scenario.
Yeah, Lair, I can't even wait for it. Still that unknown quantity, right? Team's just not quite there with bringing along the strats just yet for how it's supposed to work out. So I love it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to add some to the strat book. We're going to take it downstairs, the bathroom tellers area, and it looks like a bit of an extension. They opened up that single wall into the lobby there and the garden spot. I kind of like that. Now, typically, we see that castle being utilized for that extension, but since he's banned and off the board, not going to be the case. You're going to have to do it with the wooden barricades. A little bit more of a precarious situation for the defenders holding.
Whew, all right. Let's get this started, and I love this lineup again. Run in the glass. I think that's a great choice, a great opportunity there to take advantage of some of the long angles that you can find here on border. And it was successful versus 5 Fears, so continuing the adaptation. And wow, Tweety is just absolutely on fire. He was 0 to start off the first 3 rounds of this game and has come back huge and picked up another, putting him at 9-4-3. What a turnaround he's had on this map.
No kidding. So they find a little bit of success here as they claim the body balance, taking both Arc and BJL off the board. Huge if you're on the attacking. There's not without its damage done. Both Glaz and Tweety find themselves in a very low health situation and potentially a ton of intel ringing out on where exactly they're sitting now. A C4 to try to find one, but nobody claimed in it. 2 still in hands. Hello?
Oh, Gasher in the smoke versus a Glaz?
On a hip fire shot, Tweety answers back, redemption and retribution, screaming out in the body balance when the smoke clears. Still sits into the hands of Tempr. They find themselves up 3-2, plenty of time left on the board to work, get some drones out, suss out these last 2 defenders. 1 C4 is still in the hands of Mute, in the hands of Kool-Aid, who also has just been going a little bit dumb this round. 8-3 as he currently sits. Definitely puts himself in contention for that win con position. He's still alive. Intel for days. Plenty of time. Holding on to the hatch.
Tweety's 1 kill away, though, from picking up that 4-piece here on round 8. So, huge opportunity there. But you said it, so Gasher and Kool-Aid still left alive. And, boy, what a pair to have available here at the end of it. It's a 3v2. Plenty of time left, though, 56 seconds. And Tweety, there it is, the quad kill.
Wow, now on pace for the ace and only 1 left. Done, and they're going to have to do it in a post-plant scenario. A couple of shots ring out. They know where they're at, and that's going to be a grenade to force some movement. Shots towards the window, but not going to connect just yet. Is able to find one. Tweety not going to be good for the ace now as the triple kill rings out, but they're going back to take the vertical. A tough position to find yourself in because you're going to have to take that fight from below, and there's fire slowing you down. Still got 1 smoke, a little bit of potential chaos here. They're holding up, and a little bit of a long arm. You have to have 7 seconds on the board to get it done, but Roxo is going to take Gasher off the board, and that's going to be 1 for Tempr.
An important round here for this team, and bouncing back after losing that first opening round here on the second half of the map. They pick it up and go 4-4, tie this thing up. Boy, after some very solid plays at the first half of border, where we saw 3 in a row from 5 Fears, 3 in a row for Tempr. The second half is all about back and forth. So Man, tied up 4-4 heading into the second half of map 2. The end of border. Who's it going to be? Both teams showing some great moments so far. The 4K coming out of Tweety, the 3K coming out of Gasher, and really picking that up. He was sitting at 1 kill throughout the entire map, came alive when he needed to, and he got damn close to getting his team another round win.
Okay, who doesn't love a back and forth? And when there's pride on the line, you done run. Defense, they're going to slow it down. Zer's bringing out the Mira. We'll have some denial in the form of intel and area. Both mute and smoke here. And then, yet again, we're going to see Solus back on the board.
Yeah, this time on the other side of the map, Gasher running this Solus with the Shady, so you're going to back up that strategy and take a look at these shotguns right now. Everybody running the shotgun at the same time. Boy, that doesn't happen all that often, but I mean, Border's got plenty of opportunities here for that close quarter shotgun combat. It is so common and so devastating here to the attackers. So they've got a shield. They're bringing the glass this time around, but man, 5 stacked shields on the 5 Fierce side is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. So secondary starting to ring out. So the pressure is going to be put onto East, and maybe seeing something that they didn't necessarily like, right? They're going to take a second to get some drones in, and that's a good thing they did because they've got somebody holding close. That's going to be Arc to find Geek off the board. Starting to get activated as they claim that numbers advantage. Now into a 5-4. Smoke rings out through the window. 2 minutes left, and they're just making sure you can't come in. But that's all 3 smokes done and dusted, Run. Utility done, and we've got a ton left in this round.
Yeah, burning that utility so early. That's a great job baiting out all of that. On the Tempr side, 5 Fears now is going to have to do it more directly. We know they've got the shotguns in hand, or they're going to have to run those SMGs, but Zars finds Valen, takes him down, but the dangerous part is Tweety still left alive with the Roxo BJL trade with 1:20 left.
Well, it was a quad piece on the last round. Going to have to try to do it again, but Zers is going to double down on denial. Oh, tough place. Almost was looking towards the Tempr round, and we continue this back and forth. This time, 5 Fears up in the scoreline yet again. And they're 1 away from that coveted match point scenario. Who's going to win the band battle this time? The late round. Who's off the board, Run?
Oof, great choice. I mean, we saw some shields. It doesn't feel like we would see... I was going to say, it doesn't feel like we'd see the Glass go. It's not that often we see him as an offensive ban, but just right now being used by Tempr to great effect to try and put some pressure on this 5 Fierce team. Now maybe they can approach some of those long angles a little bit more comfortably. That honestly feels good. Mira was important, but it felt like Tempr had been dealing with her very well, and that wasn't a huge asset to the 5 Fierce team.
Well, maybe. I mean, it was the Glass that just pushed right up into the Mira, so had to take that kill one of the last times we saw that being played out. Mira's devastating. I don't like playing against her. I don't like playing with her. That Vector, the C4, the safe peek. Yeah, it makes sense to get him off the board now, and we're going to take it down to the first floor again, and this time, Run. Hello? Be still my beating heart? Are we back to customs right now?
That is the greatest moment in my life, bro.
What a play. What a strange round this has been. I mean, this is not the competitive standard at this point. We're not seeing a shift here because the defense continues to lose this site. They continue to lose it. It's not the play.
Nope, the shift has happened. The offside is here. I'm king for the call-out Run. We'll see if it plays out for the defense this time. They're going to go with a little bit of a strange op selection for it. Obviously, you got to bring the bandit, right, to go flop on those potential walls. They're important. But Gasher's going to take Geek down first. That's going to be part of the hard breach, but it's a two-pronged approach here, Run. They're both going to make sure, or they're going to make sure that they can at least get one of them open, as Roxo's going to need to be the one to do the detention now. Some damage onto BJL, but after the dust settles, defense comes up with the scoreline, or with the man advantage.
Yeah, that's a huge play there, and big thanks, Jay. Thanks for the tier 1 and the 5 gifted. You are a legend. We appreciate you joining in on the sub sale today. But Valen, look at that, taking down Ark. He was the MVP, and he's been sort of held back here on border. It's been Kool-Aid, BJL right now. Both of them still alive to take on this Tempr attack. So they're taking some shots, playing the DMRs, playing the LMGs. Plenty of bullets here to take down this 5 Fears defense.
Yeah, well, they got to take this vertical control first, and BJL is just unwilling to give any currently, and they've got the homie backing it up. Gasher, the C4 galore, 2 of them on the board, and they just have kind of slowed down, right? The Customs
stalled
finds
out
themselves with a minute and a half left, and then Zer's gonna find Nesta. Now it does get answered back as they claim that.
Oh, what a play!
Zer's with a C4, now into a 2-1. Tweety, who's been the hero of the last couple of rounds, not gonna be able to get it done. Customs wins. Let's go.
Oh, the defensive win. All right, it's 1-1. 50%. That's not a great stat, my friend, but what is
better
great...
than 0.
5 Fears picking up a defensive win. Match point scenario again, this time on map 2. Tempr, you have got to show up right now. Got to be perfect for 2 to force OT at this point. Otherwise, 5 Fears is going into what is, I think, considered their best map so far on Lair with a 2-0 map victory and a best of 5. This thing could be over in 3 unless Tempr picks up 2 rounds right now.
Man, that defense run was surgical. Customs, they isolated, they created vacuums, they made a position for you to push in, and then they absolutely devastated it. Customs for the win. I'm floating right now.
It was a great C4 there to shut down the plant. They're planting in the smoke, and honestly, it feels like taking down the glass, right, prevented them from being able to use the glass to cover the plant through the window directly, and gave the opportunity there for the 5 Fears defense to toss the C4 into the smoke. It just gave them, it created that opportunity. That was huge. Great ban there from the 5 Fears side. So, again, feels like it's a little bit on their advantage at this point.
Okay, just need 2 to get it done, but it's quite the hill to climb when you just Customs, right? The mental battle potentially starting to take its toll here in the best of 5. We'll see how they're going to bring it back. This time only leaning into the 1 hard breach, ace onto the board, and of course you need the shield play. Monty potential for that execute off the top of East. Really just kind of being that intel at the moment. Quite stretched out, and where all of the defenders sit means the isolation could happen, but no, Roxo going to be the first to fall, and it's going to be on the attacker side, and that is your shield gone. Tempr just not having that luck with the shields that you see across the board. They're just getting devastated. They've played aim labs on the side of 5 Fears, and they are not afraid of any sort of shield play.
Yeah, and Gasher running the clash alternatively as well, so we're going to make it even more difficult there for the attackers to make this push in, and they're completely getting stalled out. Feels like sort of a similar story we've seen. It's just the stalled out when they get into the mid-round. We're a minute 40 in. They've got more than half the round, and it just feels like right now 5 Fears is doing everything right, and that is huge. Taking down Tweety. He picked up 12. But is going to be shut down and potentially for the last time in a 5v2 with a minute 20 left. This looks like a 5 Fears map, my friend.
Yeah, except for you got to take Nesta into account. He's going to take BJL off the board and then immediately lose his life as Ark's able to find one. And as if history is repeating in themselves, Geek, the last one alive again, alone on an island, trying to bring this one back into contention. And he's got to do it within 65. Just still left on the board, pre-firing everything, hoping to catch one. See if he's able to do it. The problem is Clash still onto the board. He's gonna get taken down. No drone, no info, runs in, pays the price.
Oh, what a huge opportunity here. 7-4 victory for 5 Fears. They pick up the win on map 2 on border, and now they get to play Lair with a 2-0 map lead. This is exactly what we said they did not want to have going into this game. This is going to be a tough fight at this point now. For Tempr. They're going to have to put up a hell of a game here on map 3 if they want to keep this best of 5 going and have the opportunity, the option here to win the Baller Invitational.
Man. One went 13, the other went 12. Both sides having a couple of standout players, but in the end, Five Fears has conquered 2 maps in a row. One more map, potentially. One more. You got to wake up. You got to get active. Tempr, we're looking at you to bring this best of 5 back into contention. But you'll have to wait for a quick break as we got to get the lobby set back up. So, Lair, Five Fears undefeated on. We'll see if Tempr's got what it takes to do this. Ayo.
Let's go.
Welcome to reality, there's no way back.
to try. Everyone treated me badly, 'cause I was a little different. I just want to be belong. I won't let them get me down. I wanna be stronger, always remain true to myself. Let me explain. I'm so fast 'cause I'm hyperactive. Let go plus I think it makes me unattractive, but time goes fast, we should act like a fire, burning everything.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. If you're just joining us, well, welcome. We're happy to have you here. It's the Baller Invitational, a best of 5 that might be done in 3. We head to a spicy map pick now run. We head to 5 Fears Lair. They're currently undefeated in the Baller Invitational with on Lair. So, a tough situation to find yourself in if you're Tempr. Yeah, it's do or die time, my friend.
Yeah, this is a dangerous play, and this is a great map for 5 Fears. It's time for Lair.
Okay, so band battles, we've been seeing kind of 5 Fears coming out on top for that. Let's see how it plays out for Lair. I imagine we'll see some similar stuff. The hard breaches getting taken down, the shields being utilized. Feels like it's probably going to be very similar to Clubhouse in the way that we've seen the bands play.
That's a good question, but look at this. The
But
glass.
it's not. Oh, Lord, yes, let's go. I love it. I'm here for it. I want it.
Wow. Really, that's a statement, it feels like, to the way that Tempr was playing on attack, that 5 Fears says, all right, Glaz, no. You used him too often to shut us down. No more opportunity this time. But then on the Tempr side, all right, give me the intel. Ban the mute, ban the smoke. That opportunity, I think that is also a great call. Forces the 5 Fear defense into something a little bit unique. He's going to go ahead and run the Tachanka on the area denial side, and he's going to go ahead and run that LMG, just opening up some of those walls right now.
Yeah. If there's no smoke, Tachanka is the next best option to get it done, albeit a little bit slower, but still a viable option. And, you know, it's crazy. This was 5 Fears map pick, right?
No, this is Tempr's map. We talked about this during the opening entry. It was strange that Tempr went ahead and picked into Lair, which we've been saying was clearly 5 Fears' best map. So the opportunity they have is they got the chance to watch 5 Fears play it. They got to see the strats played out. So maybe they have specifically designed some attacks, some play here on Lair to counter 5 Fears. Again, best opportunity they have, but it is an awful, huge gamble to risk it all. This is a $1,000 tournament, $1,000 to the winner here for the Baller Invitational, and right now, 5 Fears is 1 map away.
Huh. So I completely misread that situation, and I thought that Tempr let Lair get through. No, they picked it. They said undefeated, not even worried about it. We'll take you there. So a little bit of damage already done onto the buck. Is the vertical game going to be a big thing here? Be playing out lots of soft breach to try to deal with, and we've seen this play out a ton of times. The vertical from underneath being devastating, specifically up onto this top floor, and you're seeing it. They're doubling down on it. Look at that. What are you doing, sirs?
Wow.
Oh, absolutely devastated. Not expecting the double down below. And that's going to put him into a tough position. Tachanka fire is raining out, allowing the Clash to run up, but that vertical play that we talked about could catch Clash slipping. Gotta have to be careful with Deimos down below.
It's such a surprise. It's one of the things we said 5 Fears throughout the semifinal is that they were playing the vertical just straight better than all of their opponents. And then the fact that we're seeing a team... Yeah, that's unfortunate. To see Tempr win the battle of the vertical here, that is for sure a bit of a surprise, winning that. We'll see whether or not this continues throughout the map, but it certainly feels surprising that we're seeing right now 5 Fears play a little bit worse on the vertical side, but Nesta, another one!
Man, Grenades now ringing out, forcing some movement on the side of the defense, and they find themselves up in a 4-2, and lots of intel by the Monty coming out, and there's the Sens gadget. They're just going to start to push in. A C4 rings out, but it's going to be friendly fire. That's going to be BJL taking Arc off the board, and now into a 1v4 as the plant starts going down. Does get the down onto Nesta, which was a huge pick. Deimos being absolutely devastating, but too little, too late. Tempr going to find one on attack.
Wow, and it ends up being a vertical kill as well. Tempr answering back in a huge way. This is, like we said, sort of a strength there for 5 Fears, and Tempr using it against them, playing the vertical better. That was 2 kills that they managed to play through the floorboards there, and a ton of pressure that they were putting up on the defense, just causing motion. The TK obviously didn't help, but I don't think that was the name of the game here for round 1. That was just Tempr playing the vertical better. 5 Fears is going to have to do better as they work here on round 2, this time in the basement.
Specifically that second floor, that top floor site, a lot of comp right now is seeing the vertical being pushed from below and being successful. They doubled up down there on it, and they were able to take Zers off the board early, a huge part of the win con, and they solidify one. Tempr takes one on attack, which means they're going to see it down to the basement. They're not going to run it back. No ego sights at this moment. Move on. Keep it going now. They're going to double up on the shield duty on the other side. Blitz and Monty going to be utilized.
Oh, they're going to pick off it just as you said it, just to make you wrong. Tempr wanted to put the stake in the ground, but yeah, Kool-Aid running on the attacking or the defending side. Kool-Aid running the Tachanka. Interesting choice. So they can continue with the area then now and doubling up on the fire. And hopefully, not only one C4, one opportunity for a TK this round.
Lots of friendly fire on the last one. The C4, the Tachanka fire. That's the problem. It's indiscriminate. You try to put those fires in place, but they go where they want. Fire does what it wants. They're going to run it back. We get ourselves into the first 30 seconds of the round, and really just the attack is just opening up everything. They're creating a bunch of avenues, so if one fails, they can get around and go to the next. Top down, though, is the way that we're going to see this one start.
Got all these red pings coming out. That's actually interesting right now. Tempr just feeding intel to the rest of the team, but at the expense of their gadgets to be able to give off that information. So certainly seems like it was maybe just to put a little bit of pressure again on the 5 Fears team, catch them off guard. We talked about that earlier in Clubhouse as one of the ways we saw Tempr pick up their single round win was catching this team off guard. So interesting, though, they're going to use those pings. Feels like it's a little bit too early to be giving away that intel.
No, Ark's going to find the first, and his first of map number 3. BJL to get active as Valen goes down to a well-placed shot. A quick swing is going to see double ring out in the side of Tempr, and we find ourselves tied up. But Geek, a bullet. No grenades in hand, no movement to be utilized here to force onto the defender. So now going to be put into the hands of Roxo as he's going to look to be that walking drone, but some siege timing is going to claim his life. Now the man advantage put into the hands of 5 Fears as they're looking to solidify their first here on Lair.
Tweety continued this domination, though. I mean, he had a hell of a round, a hell of a game, a hell of a map on that previous one on Border, and he's continuing 2-0 here to start off with. Working on opening up some of this space down below, opening up the vertical sight lines, but they have got to get downstairs. It's a basement site. You can only put pressure for so long before you've actually got to get downstairs and put that diffuser down.
Tweety going to find themselves another one. Does put us into a tied up body balance here between the two. And with 30 seconds left, going to try to find some vertical play here. Patch not done, but it doesn't matter. Zers is going to go up and take Geek. He was but a bullet, and a body shot's going to find him. Now it's going to be up to Tweety. Needs the ace, but can't pull it off. Zers going to claim one from above, and that's going to find us equalized on the score line.
Yeah, good flank, a good rotate there from 5 Fears. Identifying the Tempr guys that still had some presence upstairs. Rotates in and then holding the vertical to make sure that even if they manage to take some space downstairs in the basement, put the plant down, it's going to do it in line of all of this vertical space that they had just opened. Sledge did a 5 Fears defense a little bit of a favor by opening so much of that up, and they use it against Tempr in the end. But we're tied up. It's 1-1, a back-and-forth battle here on Lair. So Tempr, I think, putting up a great show to start off with how good we talked up the 5 Fears Lair map being. The fact that they got close and picked up 1 round so far, I think it speaks a lot about this team.
So you're going to see this next one play out. We're going to go to the turf site, the mid floor. And you see it kind of similar to how you see some Kafe on the second played out, right? A huge investment into the vertical. Now, that's the thing, though. It can ring out both ways on this one. So I imagine top down, bottom up, either way, they're going to have to figure out where every single person is at. Now, if you're going to have to hold the top floor anyways, I'd set it up like a 2F. Got a shield on the board, and this time they double up with it. No chance for the 6 pick, so I'm going to stay right. They have 2 shields.
2 shields on the board this time, and yeah, the main focus, you talked about it, holding down that vertical. They're going to open up the outside sight line into the bunk site. The main focus, though, has got to be upstairs in that R6 room, and you can see it. Look at that. 4 of those outlines holding down, or all 5 of the defenders holding down at the second floor. BGL just rotated right back down at that point, but R6 and server, they're right there. That's the main space we're going to see these teams do battle, and it has got to be a main focus for Tempr. If they don't gain control of R6, no way they're going to be able to walk in that main breach and plant.
Yeah, it's crazy that we've got the first floor play being held here. BJL active with the Bosch G, and it could prove to be devastating. Are going to find their life forfeit as the kill rings out. A headshot, well placed. Man advantage now into Tempr. It's the first minutes off the board, but answered back. Tweety's going to go down, and that was the hero of the last couple of rounds and the last map. So, huge pick right now as we sit 4-4.
Yeah, we're tied up 4-4. Tons of actioning happening at this point, but not many people going down, still sitting at 4-4, half the round gone. And man, it just feels like it is constant action at this point. A little less of that stall-out game that we were seeing on the border map. The engagement all the way through, and look at this. The pinch move on Gasher, and they managed to take him down. Geek the one kind of coming up with that kill. Both of the shields left alive on the Tempr attack side, right up until I said that.
That's right. One goes down, but the other's going to start planting. So, quickly, attackers become defenders. Defenders become attackers. Fallon's going to find one onto Kool-Aid, but BJL to answer back. Now into a 2-2.
What a
Serves
vertical.
to find one as he's on the triple kill. Trying to find himself a quad piece, and it's going to be Geek last alive yet again here for this team. It's a hatch.
Okay.
A wall bang. Now into a 1v1, a showdown as he's got the Boss G. He's going to take the swing, and Geek's able to find it. A second attacker victory.
Wow, finally Geek pulls off the clutch. We have seen him in that stage so many times. I think there was 3 or 4 rounds that Geek was left alone, the last Tempr player alive, and didn't win that clutch play. This time finally pulls it off on Lair, and wow, an answer back for the 5 Fears defense on what was their best map at this point in the Baller Invitational. Man, we talked about it. Tempr setting up, picking into this map, seemed like they had maybe read into some of the plays, came prepared, and they have certainly showed up, winning 2 attacking rounds out of 3 so far.
So back up to the second floor run. Back up to the top. Back up to the extension. Back to the vertical. We'll see if the double down on that one. How they solidified and moved some of those defenders out of place. The adaptation here. Tempr starting to look good. 2 on attack feels like a W. Now, as a new map, we'd still call it defender-sided. It's relatively unknown in every map. Defender-sided. So finding your 2 early, hitting your quota out the gate, feels good for a potential Tempr win.
Hell yeah, it does. That's exactly what this team needed coming into the best of 5. They're down 2-0. They are in a must-win scenario on Lair. You talked about the adaptation. For me, the interesting thing is we have not seen the 5 Fears defense really use any of the breach denial tactics. Not Bandit, not Cade, not Mute, on basically any of the maps at this point. They're like inviting the Tempr attack team in. You know, just show me what you got, take the gunfights directly. It feels like an interesting hole in sort of the defense that they've set up. Nothing, no breach denial on any site, any map. Obviously, it's a style of gameplay that I like, but right now it's working here for the Tempr team.
Yeah, well, if you're up 2 maps, you can afford to take a couple of chances here. Oh, almost gets lucky and finds one. Doesn't even know he's got somebody there, but the pressure already mounted. The windows opened up, so their avenue into that top solidified, at least on that side. The Monty ban means we're going to see the Blackbeard. Now, Blackbeard hasn't worked out as well for Tempr as the Monty pick or the Blitz picks potentially, so we'll see if he's able to keep his headpiece covered just a little bit. Already, a little bit of fire going to force him back.
Yeah, this is the main push over here on the Mez side, trying to get into the R6 room rather than a big focus on the operational side. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of here at this point, but then, man, right as I say it, Roxo goes down to Ark's Vector on the operational side. Any of that pressure that they were looking to put on this map is stymied in a big way as Ark picks up another and shuts down Tweedy. Man, he is having a rough start to this one after a great first round.
Yeah, 3-3 feels like it isn't quite up to 4 just yet. A little bit of adaptation going to be needed. Grenades come out. It's going to force some movement. Triple kill for now as they put themselves on pace for an ace, but Kool-Aid going to steal away that potential as Geek goes down to his bullets, and yowza, Nesta, the pre-fire. A good night towards sight, now into a 4-1. If you're going to have one left alive, the Blackbeard ain't a bad choice for it unless you got Grismots. Unless you got those devilish little Grismots that can force your shield aside and make you eligible to be death. Grenade rings out. He's going to take a quick peek towards the wall run, and now into a 1v4. Just under a minute to go. The pressure going to start to mount for the Jackson.
Yeah, with the defending team holding both of the angles as he tries to make the push into R6, completely shut down there, loses his life. Thought maybe he'd hold on to that grenade just a little bit longer. He tossed one into the hallway, took a peek in server, couldn't find anything for his efforts, and then didn't have any utility to try to make that push in a little bit easier. And Tempr answers back. Tempr. 5 Fears answers back and ties this thing up. We're sitting at a 2-2 scoreline again. Man, back and forth battle on Lair, completely, for me, unexpected. I was expecting 5 Fears to put up a much bigger fight here. So Tempr, they have an answer for right now, almost everything.
Not a bad place if you're a 5 Fears fan. A little bit scary if you're a Tempr fan. You expect some defensive wins, for sure. Tempr needs to come up big here. They're going to lean into the same sort of strat they've been utilizing, a little bit of roam clear. Skeek puts himself onto the Dokkaebi. But with Castle still alive, or not banned out, mind you, provide a nice little extension and really start to set the pace against this attack team, which has been quick. Right, they have been absolutely just getting in and taking those gunfights quick, catching 5 Fears a little off guard. This time it could be a little bit more difficult to do so.
It's one of the things that felt good from the Tempr attack is when they put a lot of extra pressure on 5 Fears, created some chaos, caught them off guard. That was the time they could find some wins. And that strategy working, right? We're sitting at 2-2. They've already found their quota on the defensive side of the map, on a map that 5 Fears is very good at. And Tempr still has their defensive half coming up on their map pick, which they have obviously prepared for and gotten ready to do battle here. Yeah, you said it. You got the Dokkaebi on board here for a little bit of the roam clear, and they're going to need it because 5 Fears, even though it's a basement defense, they still have got 3 players upstairs off-site, 1 on the second floor, 2 on the first, holding down strong on the armory side, and then Zer's upstairs and R6 holding on to that stronghold location. So they're looking like they were trying to find something direct, maybe take advantage of the fact that the attackers are a little bit off-site, holding down a little bit far away, but Kool-Aid is going to be the one to read into that and give them the intel as they try to make the push in.
Yeah, and the problem is the potential to get inside is reduced drastically with the baptism of fire that can be both Tachanka and Goyo being utilized together. So, and then of course Gasher onto the castle. Those barricades going to slow it down. Now they got a bit of a look here towards sight. The grenade rings out, but Kool-Aid's able to take one off the board. Not the shield, but it is the thick block. So goodbye, flank wide.
This is just taking way too long on the Tempr attack side. They had an opportunity. They had the option there to take the push down. They looked like they caught 3 of the 5 Fierce players off site, off guard, with Tachanka basically the only hold downstairs, but they took way too long getting that set up and execute in place. Now you take a look at where the 5 Fierce are. All 4 left alive downstairs in the basement. Direct attack here versus Tempr. And even though Nesta picks up 1, takes down Gasher, we're still sitting in a 3v2 with the last 50 seconds remaining.
Yeah, but getting close to potentially getting a plant. No, diffuser down. Zer's going to find the headshot onto Nesta. That's the shield gone. So Roxo going to be the last alive to try and bring this one back. And unfortunate, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Looking towards it, BJL just going to take a quick swing, and it's a pixel-perfect headshot.
Wow, what a one-tapper to end it there, holding on, and 5 Fierce goes up. That's the first time we've seen either of these teams pick up 2 in a row at this point. A 2F and a basement means they're going to play a first floor site, this time holding on to Bunk's briefing, and again, totally expect this 5 Fierce defense to set up strong upstairs. And geez, we just talked about the fact that 5 Fierce hadn't brought any breach denial, and they're going to bring the 2-Brow and the Bandit both here for the first time on this round.
I like it. Switch it up. Keep them guessing, and that's the way that you're going to potentially win out the map. Especially because Tempr is looking good on attack, right? They're aggressive. They're space taking. They're seeing the gaps or they're spotting the gap perfectly, and just losing the gunfights. That last one, they had the gap spotted. You were right. They saw what they needed to do. They stalled out, and they paid the price in a very heavy way. Last round of the half here for Lair is going to see 5 Fierce up by 1, looking to try to take us to that standard 4-2 split. They've got really just pace setters across the board here, outside of Solus. Plays, of course, that intel role.
Oof, is it going to be the 4-2 split or the even, right? A little bit different. We've seen on Clubhouse, 5 Fierce went 5-1-1/2, and then back on Border, we saw a 3-3 before 5 Fierce eventually picked that up in a 7-4 victory. So Tempr has got the opportunity right now and steal a couple of these gadgets, focusing on the Bandit, making sure that they can steal some of this breach denial. That was such an important part, a change up here. 5 Fierce looking to catch Tempr off guard. One of those unfortunate clutch draws goes down. So Tweedy running the Mav, going to open up some of these sight lines on the wall. We talked about it. That wall, this main breach into Bunks, the most important site here for the attackers to get open, and then they have got to gain vertical control over on R6 if they want to try and go for this quick plant. So they have got to focus upstairs right now.
Well, they got the main breach opened up, so no Thermite, no Ace, doesn't matter. Maverick's going to get the job done and be backed up by some shotgun play. Take some shots towards, and they definitely saw somebody was sitting there, and by somebody I mean the Blackbeard, who's just being a little bit of that walking drone, taking the place of Monty currently. He's off the board. So holding down, the pings are out. Does it still have a grenade? Yep, 2 of them, so movement can be forced here. But it seems like a bit of a stall out run. It seems like they're doing something similar and just not quite getting there quick enough.
This is honestly surprising, the fact that we're seeing all 10 players left alive up until the minute 25 mark. One of the longest opportunities we saw for both of the teams to stay alive. And look at this, planting in Bunks. There is a ton of action happening upstairs, but it is all distraction as the plant goes down.
That's right. Roxo finds 1, but Kool-Aid good for 2 as they find themselves in a 4-2. But it's a post plan. An attack definitely hold out here. 1 track still in play. 2 grenades still in hand. And it's the vertical being sussed here. Looking for that hatch drop. Is going to find 1 closer to equalizing onto the score line. Now forcing a bit of a rotate potentially. Solus down. That's going to be another one. Geek finds 1. And all of a sudden, BJL, the last alive. And with 10 seconds, he's going for the defuse. Oh, Geek comes in and finds it. Batteries recharged as we find ourselves tied up 3-3.
Holy cow, Tempr, what a round. That chaos that happened, we're sitting a minute 25 left, all 10 left alive. That first kill happens, and you take a look at the outlines that we could see upstairs on the second floor. Basically every player, and they are completely engaged in battle, all the while the plant going on downstairs. That was well played on the Tempr attack side. Go site direct and then create chaos and distraction upstairs on the second floor. They played that out perfectly, and then to be able to hold, as it looked like the defense were going to get the counter defuse, Tempr's able to shut it down and get a even 3-3 split. Now, we said it, it's a must-win scenario here on Lair for Tempr. They have to win to keep this best of 5 going.
Okay, the backside of the band's run. Flash and Goyo taken out. Now, Goyo, that's something we talked about a couple of casts ago, saying guys that we don't see more Goyo ban, right? He's brought almost every round. Great at stalling out any push that's coming in. It allows your other defenders to up roaming and outside of it. And, well, I don't know. You cast her last couple of times. We've seen one, and this is going to be no different. They find one here.
Whew, man, you said it, Goyo, but look at that. Tempr banning the glass. I don't think Five Fears was nearly as devastating as they were running it, but you know what? Make sure that they can't run that off instead. But it's interesting, right? For a little time period, for a short time there at the beginning of Year 10 Season 2, we were seeing like all hard breach, all breach denial operators banned like every round. There was a short time period where that was the absolute standard. And in this game, we have seen very little of that. It's been a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The Clash goes down, the Goyo, and then the Blitz as well. That's an interesting one there for the Tempr team. I think they want to try and slow the Five Fears attack down. Again, one of the things they did well, and again, reading into the way that this team played out on Lair previously, they obviously prepared for this Five Fears team.
I'm going to try opening up into sight. They're going to get it done from the roof. The safety, don't have to worry about the hallways, that sky bridge window. And it's kind of just really slowed down for this back half, right? Attacker's taking a little bit more time to get drones in. Still got a couple of players outside doing that drone. In fact, only one has made it in. That's going to be BJL looking to capitalize off some the potential Deimos pings ringing out, and there it is. Deimos ping goes down and keeps one targeted. It's a little bit of damage, but doesn't end up finding any of the kills. Zers take down Roxo. Huge pick, though. The castle goes down. Now puts the man advantage in the hands of Five.
Yeah, this is honestly huge. What a great shot there. And to lose the cast, even though got all of that passive utility down, but Kool-Aid comes up big and take down Geek. Picked up one of those clutch rounds himself, and now Ark continuing this battle in a 5v2. Five Fears is on an absolute roll here on attack.
Yeah, now they made their way into sight and got a potential for the plant, but way up, and it's Tweety. They have been, but unfortunate the cat is going to ring out. Rip him off the board, just continuing to have a great round himself at 7-4. Nesta takes BJL off the board. He's the Blackbeard coming up, but just too much pressure run. It's suffocating. They don't even have room to rotate.
Oh, suffocating, you said it. Five Fears picks up another win, this time on the attack. So even though we expected Tempr to be prepared on their defense, to know what they were walking into with this Five Fears attack, it's not enough to shut down and stop this team. That 5-2 early was just way too much to overcome. The early picks falling in Five Fears' favor, and they just carry that into a round win. Tempr, now is the time. You cannot let this team pick up such a lead. You cannot let them continue this dominance. It is time. If you want to see this best of 5 move on, are we going to see Kafe? Are we going to see Chalet? It all comes down to Tempr's play on Lair for the next, well, 3 rounds.
Okay. Well, they do switch it up a little bit. Right, we're going to see the Scopos being brought out, and in the hands of Nesta, feels like a formidable choice. Potential for that flank to come out. They do some of that area denial, but they do it in a different way, right? They're not going to be bringing out the Goyo because they can't. So Fenrir going to help stop that process, stop it and deny the entrance to get in, make them ask for permission for a plant potential.
That's right, my friend. Force the question, force the action here. 5 Fears approaching a little bit slowly this time. They're taking their time outside, clearing those pieces of intel. You see from a Tempr perspective, holding down to a basement site, and again, I would say heavy roam game at this point, a little bit shallow, holding onto the first floor, and then Nesta upstairs on that second floor, holding down R6, and this time running that Scopos. I honestly love that pick. I don't know whether or not that's the right play here for Lair. Hopefully they can get a rotate. Hopefully they can catch this 5 Fears attack team off guard with maybe a flank.
Triple drone duty on the side of the attack. They're going to see their first.
Let's cause some chaos.
Dusted. It's a tough one. They got 3 drones on the other side. Flores, Twitch, and Ram. Trying to get active without getting themselves into any sort of trouble, any sort of damage. I'm going to start opening things from above, and the F2 going to say goodnight to Roxo as they find the answer back. I don't know if they got that up either. I don't think they got that. That was the barricade, right, that got taken down?
Yep.
For the reinforcement?
Yep, unfortunate there, and now what we're seeing, at least the bodies are tied up. A Kool-Aid goes for the F2, but loses a ton of health, down to almost 0 at this point. Trying to play the vertical game. We said this was one of the things that 5 Fear was very good at, and really winning that battle. Tempr really had answer back, though. Gonna see the Twitch come out, try and clear out some of this defensive utility. Still, 4 left alive, 4 full health. Tempr on a bit of an advantage. This is final minute, ticks down.
Kool-Aid going to be taken off the board. It was just but a bullet, so wasn't a chance to live very long. They're going to really start opening it up, though. Still have Fuse on the board with his shield in hand. Potential to do some devastation as he hasn't dropped any of those charges just yet. And, well, there we go. You force them into some movement with the Fuse charges, and you've got all of the vertical opened up. Could be huge. And look
what
at
a
that.
play!
Oh, Nesta, no! Nesta goes for the swing and loses it. A C4 to ring out, but it's not going to claim. BJL takes Tweety off the board, and we find ourselves back into a 2-2 standoff with 25 seconds left. Starting to make the push in. BJL looking to capitalize and find another one. You get an MP7 through the wall. No damage done just yet. And you can hear that shield moving. You can hear him getting active with the Fuse. And there it is. BGL to find one. And Gasher to take one as well.
Oh, and not even with the utility. We see the Fuse, shield, pistol playing rather than using the utility, rather than using the chaos and devastation you get with the Fuse. He's just going to go ahead and win it with some direct gunplay downstairs after dropping the hats. My Gasher reading in, listening to the cast at the same time says you can prep for the strats, but you still have to win. Damn, can't prep for heart, says Zers. What a statement in all chat. Jeez.
Okay. Well, seems like 5 Fears just cannot miss. They are just pulling out everything, and it's absolutely working. They're going to switch it up just again. What do we see, Run? What does Tempr do? They've got strats. They've got players who are absolute gunners. What do you do to take map 3 in the hopes of seeing 4?
So they've, like we said, and what we've been saying during this setup all along is Tempr obviously prepped for the strats that 5 Fears was bringing because they had a ton of VOD on this team, on the Baller Invitational, so had the opportunity. So they need to be just better. They were playing the vertical better than 5 Fears for a short period of time. Lean into that, take advantage, play a little bit more aggressively because that was the other thing that seemed to be winning, that seemed to be working against this team. And on this first floor site, there's a big opportunity, right? Play upstairs. You can see a huge investment. 4 of these defenders upstairs holding down to the second floor, but they have got to win their gun battles and put some pressure on 5 Fears and make them make mistakes.
I like it. Pro strat. Make a miss. Ying left onto the board. A potential misstep there. Right? LMG with enough bullets to claim everybody. Just spray and pray. Not to mention the Candelas to become potentially useful towards the end. A zombie looking to get active. There's a bit of damage done onto Ark, but not enough to seal the deal. So a repel as they try to draw him out for the run out. Not going to be baited by it though. Takes a quick couple of shots and they're going to rotate back to the relative safety of the Kiba barriers.
Oh, man, we said, Tempr, you cannot let Five Fears gain the space, cannot let them gain the extra rounds on you. They're 1 round away from match point. This is Tempr's round to win at this point, and at least they're holding on. We're still 5 stack, 10 players left alive in the lobby, but look at this intel coming out from Five Fears. We're just seeing an army of drones pop through, trying to suss out where all of these Tempr defensive players are at. They still have got 2 upstairs. Here comes those Ying Candelas coming in, causing a little bit of chaos, and there is the first as Ark wins the nade battle, takes down 1.
Yeah, Ark heads into that double digits, now puts himself at 10 and 5. A shotgun swing is going to take him off board, though. The caster good for Roxo as they find themselves equalized on the body balance with less than a minute left to go. Find yourselves in a 4-4 all tied up. And this is must-win scenarios for Tempr here if they want a chance to bring it back. 48, the Dokkaebi call, starting to make the push up, but doesn't get swung. Instead, it's going to be a wall bang. Toes spotted. Nesta's going to take down Zers. Here's the prone. Doesn't know where exactly it's at, and then is going to get taken down as Nesta's good for 2. Geek takes it with a C4 and Tweety to follow it up on a gasher. It means we're going to see us a little bit closer in the scoreline as they are 1 away from tying it up.
All right, you can prep for strats, but not for heart, but you can still win the battle, even with a little bit of intel there. That was well played there by Tempr. They had all of the right counters, a little bit of trigger discipline, waited for the right moments to take advantage of Five Fears. Shotgun battle upstairs, picking that one up and winning. And honestly, that ban, yeah, get rid of the Ying, take her off the board. Tempr doesn't want to have to try and deal with that, forced into bringing a Warden to deal with the Ying. That's a good call there. Five Fears taking off the smoke. It's going to make it a little bit easier to push in, avoid that area denial, maybe force Tempr into picking something else for area denial, but they don't.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I'm going to say force them into the Tachanka pick, but yeah, not going to lean into that. And probably the right call, right? Tachanka is so slow. Great for making the rotates. Great for holding the long distance. But you find yourself in a close quarter combat situation and the Lord himself, not quite the right pick. We're not going to see it here. I think that might be a good play. Castle up top. Start that extension potentially. Potentially getting just the hatches, but I would like to see some vertical extension being had here. They've got all of the rest to just slow down getting actually into sight. You can afford to have some people invested in the roam game.
I like this play on the mute, right? We talked about the intel that Five Fears had, the army of drones that came in on the second floor as they made their push in. Having Tempr to be able to try and avoid some of that, deal with some of that using the mute, I think that's a great call on their part. And the interesting one, we saw Five Fears ban the smoke on a border as well, so they don't want to have to deal with that area denial. Too much of a slowdown, too much opportunity for sort of a late round, or forcing and debating out that util, so potentially winning here the ban battle, if you want to call it that. See the LMG just emptying the clip as he opens up some of those sight lines. Is now forced 40 seconds gone, and they're going sight direct with the combo of Blackbeard and Sledge.
I love it. Fenrir to slow him down, but they're going to take that gadget off the board, but it does give them the location. They now know that somebody is making their way in, and Kool-Aid's going to find Tweety off the board as the first goes down. Geek to answer back onto Zers, and now some Rotero drones to push in and make people miss, and there's a grenade to take down Fenrir, followed up with BJL, puts us into a 4-3 as we've still got just over 2 minutes, but that's the plant starting to go down. Now the vertical seems like it's tough, and that's all that's up there. Ark's going to take Roxo off the board. Now into a 4-2 situation. Vertical be damned. Gasher finds a Geek with the L85. F5 now into a 4-1 scenario as Five Fears is looking to find themselves on a match point scenario. Nesta has been pretty crazy, but they're not going to throw bodies. They've got one to potentially just put some pressure onto it, even though he's being pinged out. Not much you're going to be able to do.
He's giving
10
up.
seconds left to get it. Yeah, he's going to have to talk about it. And I'm fortunate that you're going to have to do that on match point scenario. Five Fears is going to find this round. And it's looking dicey for Tempr.
Oh, wow. Dicey it is. You said it. Five Fears picks up the win. Sight direct. They go catching the Tempr defense off guard. A little bit too spread out. Five Fears reads into that. IGL identifies it, and they go for the quick execute. And it's not just match point, my friend. It is match point, map point, and Baller Invitational grand final point. The winner walks home with $1,000. And some big bragging rights, and Five Fears is now 1 round away.
Man, when you put it like that, it does feel like the pressure's here, Run. It does feel like all of a sudden Tempr, who looked so good throughout the rest of this tournament, might be losing it in 3. They got to do something, and they need to be perfect for 2. They're going to start by taking it upstairs, and they're going to bring out the Lord himself. Tachanka is here.
I mean, lean into it. We saw the Five Fears defense play that strat, use it well. I mean, when you don't have the smoke available, you said you have to try and use some other piece. So is that the play? Is it going to be the difference maker at this point? Valen could be the guy here running this vigil. We saw Gasher pull off an incredible lurk earlier on in Clubhouse, take advantage of that. But Five Fears has been very good with the intel game, and whether or not he gets misdroned or there's an opportunity here, they're taking a big risk, taking some chances, not playing sort of that very structured and strategic siege, sort of trying to go for a little bit of off play here on match point.
I like it. I like it. It's not a bad call. Switch stuff up. Blackbeard trying to get active towards the backside here. As they go to make the push in, stopping the flank. Arc going to find the first off the board as Geek goes down, and that's a huge pick. The Architect is done.
No way!
No more Kiba barriers. Fenrir, Gadget going off as Blackbeard makes his way in.
It's the top frag too.
Off the board.
No, Geek, the top frag, playing the Azami, the Architect is such an important part of this attacking, of this defensive setup. And look at this, the plant going down with 1:52 on the board.
That's right. Nesta able to find one, but Zer's answers back. Kool-Aid to find it. Now into a 4v1. And with that last bullet hit, it's going to hit like a judge's gavel. Case closed, my friend. They do it, and they do it dramatically. Don't drop a map in the grand finals.
They lost 1 map throughout this entire Baller Invitational. The F5 team was the only team that managed to take 1 down, and in a best-of-5 scenario, they showed up in a big way, continued the dominance of the Baller Invitational. Big GG's there to Five Fears. Congratulations, guys. You freaking earned it. That is a best-of-5. Well played.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge win. And they did it in 3, right? They looked like they were going to be on the dominant run and hoping to see some back and forth in this best of 5, but Five Fears just wanted it more. They were hungry, and my friends, they ate.
Yeah, that was a great play. I mean, from start to finish, Tempr put up a few great moments there. They had some moments of brilliance. They took advantage of some of the mistakes that Five Fears made, but that's the problem. They didn't make many mistakes. There wasn't that many opportunities. Five Fears just played better. This is a great team. Obviously, you know the names. You know the team. They're going to continue this play. We saw them come in huge during Challenger Series. I'm going to expect them to do the same as we move forward here in the rest of this Siege season.
Yep, back to the drawing board for Geek and the team. Tempr, they're going to have to rest. Success. Looked good, but not quite enough to get it done. Oh, man. It was a best of 5. We had the chance for 5 maps, and we didn't get their run. I can't believe that Siege is already over.
Yeah, it ended quicker than we wanted, and appreciate everybody joining us here for the cast. Appreciate the support, the fans out there. It was great having y'all with us on this Baller Invitational ride. Glad we got to show off the grand final as well to y'all.
Yeah, 120 for the Baller Invitational. Chef's kiss. We love hanging out with you guys. We love talking about Siege. And if you want some more of it, there's a couple ways that you can do it. I'm at glitter_whiskey. He's at racing NGR, and together we're the Siege Double Shot on Twitter. You tag us with your hot takes, your cool ranks, any sort of picks. We want to talk Siege. And if you want to do it more in person, you can head to discord.gg/doubleshot and come hang out. Come play some ranked. Copper to champ, and a little bit of competitive in between, and stay up to date with all of your news, including Stomp and Watch as he dominates on G2. Any sort of play, just come hang, right? We just love hanging with you. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for hanging with us tonight. But alas, we've come to the dreaded part of the so as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo.
Let's go.